What perfect timing I have.
That list left me exacerbated.
Yeah, nice gate buns.
Oh, by the way, I gave birth to a chili plant today, so I'm very pleased about that. I thought you'd all like to know.
We're going to have to transvestigate you now, Jim.
Yeah. Did it burn coming out?
Also,
They keep
please...
saying that men can't have children.
Yes. Please feel free to super chat the show, or even better, click the PayPal link in the description and send me your hard-earned cash, which will be very nice to receive since I put in so much time making this massive show, which we are about to start with a couple of clips of aggressive animals. Enjoy.
Like Starspire when she gets into an argument.
I felt quite sorry for that man there at the end.
It was suitable goose music, though, I feel.
It had to be a Canadian goose, right?
Originally,
I think so.
Originally that had Celine Dion on it. You know, the Titanic song.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, no.
I had to remove that. Anyway,
Very
that's
much,
my
yeah.
funny effort for this week. Next, the absolutely definitely last word on a debate that has been raging in the server this week.
Thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
This is the Tesla Gigafactory in Berlin, where Elon Musk builds Tesla cars for the European market. It's factories like this that have made him the world's richest person. But now he's using that wealth, billions of dollars amassed by selling Teslas, to promote European far-right parties. He's vocally supporting the far-right AfD in the upcoming German election, claiming only the AfD can save Germany. The AfD is so far to the right that France's national rally leader, Marine Le Pen, will not work with the party. Members of the AfD use Nazi slogans, constantly spread disinformation, and trivialize the Holocaust. In a conversation on Twitter, Musk and Alice Weidel, the leader of the AfD, both spread misinformation and falsified history. Musk claimed that Weidel is the most popular candidate for German Chancellor, when in reality polls put her fifth. Musk also claimed the AfD is the most popular party in Germany. A complete lie. Weidel declared to Musk that Hitler was not right-wing or a conservative, but was a communist, a claim to which Musk said, very much so, and yeah. In reality, the Nazis were an extreme right-wing, racist and anti-Semitic party that murdered 6 million European Jews. Musk has called Angela Merkel Angela Merkin, a sex industry slur. In the UK, Musk has become a vocal supporter of Tommy Robinson, a former member of the fascist British National Party, who has served multiple prison sentences, including one for assaulting an off-duty police officer. Robinson, a football hooligan, is the founder of the far-right English Defence League. He has a history of violence and has been filmed attacking people on multiple occasions. He is currently in jail after being ordered by a judge to stop spreading entirely false claims about a 15-year-old refugee who had been attacked by another teenager at school. Robinson repeated the false claims anyway. Musk has backed him multiple times on Twitter. In recent weeks, Musk also came to the defence of Andrew McIntyre, a British neo-Nazi who was a key architect of racist riots that rocked the UK last summer. McIntyre set the time and location for the initial riot that targeted a mosque, drawing a red circle around it and adding the message, "Time for war." 50 police officers would be injured in the attack while congregants had to lock themselves inside. McIntyre then declared on the organising channels he established that the mosques must burn. The day before his arrest, he was calling for the killing of all Jewish, Muslim and black people, adding white power. McIntyre also shared a video of the 2019 Christchurch mosque terror attack, when 51 Muslims were murdered, coupled with a caption lauding the shooter as a white legend and making offensive slurs against Muslims and Jews. When he was arrested, a knife was found hidden in the boot of his car, and when his home was searched, officers found weapons and a copy of Hitler's Mein Kampf. McIntyre used Telegram to encourage rioting, but Musk took to Twitter to bemoan McIntyre's 7-year prison sentence for organising the riots using social media. Musk also interacted positively on Twitter with Austrian far-right activist Martin Sellner. Sellner's identitarian organisation previously received a €1,500 donation from the Christchurch attacker. Sellner and the shooter exchanged friendly emails before the atrocity, with Sellner inviting the man to join him for a beer or coffee if he ever came to Austria. Sellner denies knowing what the man was planning. When Sellner last year complained on Twitter about being detained by Swiss police at a talk he was giving about what he calls remigration, Musk asked, "Is this legal?" Then there was Norway. Musk has shared a post comparing the country to the USSR. And Italy. He's called on Italian judges to be fired. And the Netherlands. Musk said the Netherlands will die out by its own hand in a Twitter conversation with far-right Dutch leader Geert Wilders. European democracy is being threatened by the world's richest man. But Elon Musk's wealth and power is in large part based on the value of Tesla. When you buy a Tesla, you're backing a far-right activist.
Sorry about that. The rest of it's flat earth, I promise, but that I felt needed to be said. So I said it.
Damn, it's pretty
Yep.
heinous.
Or rather, Led by Donkeys said it. And if you're in the UK and you like that sort of thing, please support Led by Donkeys. Like I do.
What a dick!
I
Yeah,
know.
I don't understand why people are defending him, because no one who's defending him would in any way do that salute in public.
Right.
Exactly. And by the way things are looking with him in a high position, especially within our government, our future is very dark.
Well, let's hope not. Okay. Oh, did I get a super chat there? Have I missed one? Oh, there it is. The great Gertrude Perkins says, I have a psychiatric diagnosis of autism, and I have never supported the far right, not done a Nazi salute. I am left-wing and anti-fascist. Good for you, the great Gertrude Perkins. Okay, on to the flat earth now, and a clip not about the final experiment. There have been ructions in the conscious community this week, as famous not very good rapper Lord Jamar made a fool of himself with an epic failure in a debate with Professor Dave. Enjoy.
I issued a challenge, Godfrey, to even come here to talk to Mr. Whoever, scientist man, that if he can present me a working model of a ball that water sticks to the outside of
rotating.
it. Yes, as it rotates, I'll gladly sit down and have a talk with him. He hasn't showed me such model. I can give you a model right now as we sit here.
Oh,
The reason that things stick to the Earth is because the Earth is extremely massive, so it generates a very large gravitational field. When water falls off of a ball, whatever ball you're talking about, to the Earth, it's because of the large gravitational field exerted by the Earth. So when you're talking about water sticking to a ball, your desired demonstration of gravity fails because gravity exists.
No.
Things fall to the ground.
There is
because of
density
gravity.
and buoyancy, sir. Gravity is not some
Okay,
magical
density is
thing
not a
that
force.
makes things
Density is a
drop
scalar.
to the
Density is
ground.
not a force.
It depends
And
the
buoyancy
medium
only
that it is
exists where
in.
gravity
First of all,
force.
this guy came out real disrespectful, talk about the stupidest shit. Like if he was in
Yeah,
this
it's the
room, I'd be
stupid- Dude,
smacking
you
the
just
shit
said
out
that
of
it
him
doesn't
right now.
matter if scientists
First of all,
study science.
okay,
It's all bullshit. You
Right,
have any idea how
sir?
offensive
You know
what
that,
is,
right?
What you say to the
You know that,
entire
right?
human race, the entire body of scientific knowledge. Let me respond to the insanely stupid thing you said.
I want
Density
you to
and buoyancy,
respond
which
to-
you
to my-
memorized from an
let him talk,
activity.
Jay.
Okay, we're gonna
Right.
talk about what
Respond to what you said.
pseudoscience
You
is.
wanna
Okay,
Go
talk
ahead.
now?
Okay, go ahead,
Want me to respond?
Dave. Go ahead, Dave.
Density
ahead.
is not a force. It requires a force to produce an acceleration. Things accelerate towards the Earth. Density is a scalar. It's not a force. It can't make things move. Buoyancy, there's a buoyant force, but it has gravity in the equation.
It has
Buoyancy only exists
gravity.
when gravity exists.
Gravity,
So,
secret sauce.
Here's the problem with your density bullshit. You think that things fall down because the air is less dense. The air is less dense above the object too. So why the fuck don't things fall up? Can you
Things
explain
do
that to me?
fall up, you fucking asshole.
what
Bubbles,
fall up?
bubbles
Nothing
go
falls
up, you
up.
stupid fuck. Fucking
goes
evaporation goes up, you dickhead. Like,
That's
what the
not
fuck are you
falling.
talking about?
That's
Like-
not a. That's because there's
it's
wind.
because it's lighter than the fucking density it's in.
Doesn't
Why?
a bubble-
How can
doesn't
a
a-
fly
doesn't a
defy
bubble
gravity?
fall? Doesn't a
How
bu-
can a fucking tadpole defy gravity? You fucking
A
shithead.
tadpole defy gravity? What the
Yes.
fuck are you talking
How does
about?
anything swim through? If gravity is holding down oceans that are tons of fucking
Yeah.
of fucking force, how does anything swim through the ocean? How do you fucking lift your your legs off the fucking ground?
things can
You
exert
fucking
force.
cockbag.
One
Let him
organism
answer
has
you.
muscles. Birds have wings, right? You can exert
They have
force,
wings?
which allows you to accelerate. Right? Doesn't that make sense? If you jump or if you throw a ball, you're exerting force and you are counteracting gravity until that momentum runs out. You throw a ball, it goes up, and then it falls back down.
Speaking
Why do
of
things fall down?
Speaking of momentum, do things
No.
need
Not
energy?
Why do
speaking
things-
of
why do
you
things
changing
fall
the
down?
Subject, why don't things fall
Why
up?
do-
Why
why
do
do-
things only fall down?
why do they-
The
You said, why
air
do
is
things
less dense
fall
above
up?
the
No,
ball.
why do
does
things
it
fall down
up?
only? Why don't they fall up? This is what he's asking.
Again, light things will rise.
Only with wind,
Dense.
which is a
No,
force.
it's not only with wind.
Things don't float. Nothing
Why
floats.
doesn't a ball fall up? The air
Because
above the ball
it is
less
dense.
than the ball.
Because it is dense.
Because what's that?
The air
The ball
is more
is
dense than the
dense.
ball. Is
The-
that what you're saying
That
now?
don't even make sense. That's not even what
The
you're,
ball
what you're saying.
is dense. If it's in regular air, it will fall to the ground.
in
If
regular
it was
air.
in,
Why
if
does
it
it
was
fall up?
in,
Isn't
say
the air
a
above the ball
gel,
less
if it
dense
was
than
in
the
a
ball?
gel, what is it? What's the ball gonna do?
Okay, I
It's
don't
just
know
gonna
about what
stop
the fuck
there,
you're talking
right?
about the gel in the air. Why
There's
doesn't a ball
it
fall
depends
up?
on the
air
medium.
is
Can't
less
ask
Why
the
does it
question
fall
and then-
up? What does falling up have to do with anything? I don't
No,
understand.
because
what
you
you're
think
saying.
that everything
he
is-
said,
You said
what?
there's no
such thing as gravity. You said there's
Why
no
is
such
there a
thing in
preferred
gravity.
direction of falling? Why do things fall down to the ground?
Because they're heavy. Because they have density. That's
Okay,
why.
what is heavy? What is weight? Do you even know what weight is?
Oh my.
What's weight? Tell me the definition of weight.
It's your fucking head on your fucking shoulders, you fat
Oh,
head
someone's
bitch.
getting a little sassy because
Like,
he doesn't know the answer to the
bro,
question. What
We're
does
not
weight
gonna
mean?
sit here and talk about all these.
We're not going to sit here and define words that you don't
Yes,
know. that you're
define
trying to
words. We're talking about what's heavy and what's light.
use. Yeah. So what does fucking heavy mean, dumbass? You said the word heavy. What is heavy? What is weight? What is weight? What does that mean? You don't know the definitions of the words you're using.
Bro,
What?
we know
Education.
about these things, bro. And all
Like,
this
we
shit
do
you're
and you
talking
don't.
about
You should learn
is
it.
some bullshit. Like, do you know about crepuscular rays? What are crepuscular rays? How far
You don't
away?
even know what you're trying to
how
say.
far
Like,
away
you
is the
vaguely
sun?
memorized
Is the
Eric
sun
Today
93
thing, and
million
you're
miles away? How do you have pressurized air in something that doesn't have a covering?
The
Yeah, when you say down, you mean towards the ground, right?
Yeah, that's the ground.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So wherever the fuck you're standing on this thing, wherever the fuck you're standing, down is towards the ground.
But now look
It's
how
towards
the
center of the
look
earth.
how it
So
look how
nobody's
it
upside
turns.
down.
Look how it
Everybody
curves,
thinks-
motherfucker. Look how the fucking shit is on the side
and
of
if
the
you're
ball.
Here, down is towards the center of the earth. And
But-
if you're
but you're
here,
standing
down is towards
on
the
the-
center of the earth.
but
And
you
if you're
see how-
here,
and if-
down is towards the center of the earth.
That
This is how
doesn't-
fucking
no,
dumb
that
you
doesn't
are.
make
This is how
sense, you
fucking
fucking
dumb you are.
asshole.
You
That's how
imagine
dumb
a
you
globe.
are. That shit
You
don't
think
make
that
no
down-
fucking sense.
You think that there's
You're
a
on the
magic
side,
down in
and
outer
it's supposed to
space
be
because you're
tilted,
imagining
and
a
it's supposed to
globe
be
in
on
your
an
house,
axis.
and you're
This shit
imagining
is
the
fucking
ground
ridiculous.
below
Please
the
get this
globe.
clown out of
That's
here,
why you
please.
think that there's a down
All
in
right.
space.
Get this
in
clown
reality,
outta here.
there's no fucking
Who's-
down.
He's trying to get famous.
Magically
Okay,
in
you got
space.
famous off of
Down
me.
is towards
Get him
the
out of
center
here.
of the earth. Do you get it? Do you
Get him
understand?
out of here. Down
Well-
And you're out of here. Where you
down
going?
is towards you is what you do to your fucking father. Get out of here.
Oh, now we got the gay jokes coming. He's getting a little mad. Okay, kiddo, listen, can you admit that you only think
Yeah.
that this is down because you're standing on the
All
fucking
right.
ground? And so you're reinforcing what
I
is the
thought
actual
this would
truth.
be,
You want me down is the
I
center of the ground.
told you.
a nice discussion.
I
I
told
guess
you.
we got a
You
little
can't
bit
pres-
aggressive.
He's a pseudoscientist.
So
and
A
until
pseudoscientist.
you
Dave,
show and
thanks.
prove your shit with
Thanks.
the
Where's
fucking
down?
model, we're not going to
Where's
even
down?
take you seriously.
Answer me
so-
this. Why is this down in space? Where's down? Where's down in space? What does that mean?
You never been
Why-
to space.
why is this person
Nobody's
upside
been
down?
to space. So you
What
don't know
should
what,
be-
what is down in
No,
space.
no, no, no. Stop.
You're
stop,
taking
stop
shit.
changing
You're
the
taking
subject, stop
somebody's
changing
word
the
for
subject.
it.
Here's a guy that you
Godfrey?
think is upside
Godfrey?
down, right? Here's a
I'm gonna
guy
ask him.
standing right
No, I'm
here.
telling you now,
what would
Godfrey.
be pulling him down? Why
Yo.
would he be pulled down? To
Godfrey?
where and to why?
Hey, Mike, we're gonna. Hey,
I'm telling
Dave,
you.
thanks for you guys. We
I'm
tried.
telling you.
I thought it'd be
Yeah.
like a
Are
better
you cutting me out
conversation.
here just because this fucking guy
Yeah,
can't?
get
No,
outta
I'm
here,
not
bitch.
cutting. I mean, it's
handle
not,
the-
it's not because I guess he's done talking. I mean, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
Dave.
fuck you.
Oh, he's definitely done talking because
Yeah.
he can't handle somebody who actually knows what he's talking about,
Nah,
tearing apart all the
you
bullshit
ain't
that he
tearing
chose to
apart
believe from
shit.
the Eric Dubé videos.
It ain't no Eric Dubé
Who's the Eric
video,
Dubé?
sir.
It is. You directly parrot
Huh?
every
Who's
single
Eric
thing
Dubé?
that Eric Dubé
dude
says.
from,
Trust me, I've debunked all this shit.
Oh, he's-
I know your
he's a
whole
flat
script.
earther.
You
Density
ain't
points,
debunk.
density
You
points.
ain't debunked shit.
No, I did. And that's why you're getting angry.
We
and
on a
throwing around
flat
gay jokes.
plane,
You can't answer any of
the
questions.
water.
Oh, now you're bringing the race card.
We
You're bringing
living
the race
on-
card, right?
Wait, what?
I-
No, he said flat plane. We're on a flat plane.
Oh, I thought I misheard you.
Yes.
Whoa,
Okay.
Dave. Whoa.
Yo, tell your man something, bro. Like
Yo,
right now.
Okay.
You can't answer.
Thanks.
You can't answer.
Thanks for coming, Dave. Appreciate
You guys really
that.
cutting me out?
I mean, it's not. We're not gonna get anywhere anyway. I thought it would be
Of course
like.
we're not going to get anywhere because he's
I-
a fucking brick wall
Yo.
that refuses to accept that there could be things that he doesn't understand and
Listen,
that science isn't
No,
wrong just
no,
because you don't
science
take
is
the time to
definitely
learn
wrong.
about it.
We're not taking your word for it. Your motherfuckers been
You don't
lying.
have to take my word
and
for
we're
it.
not,
I'm asking
and we're
very
not
simple
fucking with your
questions that
lines.
you can't answer.
We
right?
deal with
Down is towards the ground. And
water.
you can't wrap
Always
your head
finds its
around.
level. Water must have a container. It cannot
What's
stick to
rain?
the
Where's the
outside of
container
a
on
fucking
rain?
ball. You fucking asshole.
Where's the container on rain, dumbass?
Water must always have a container.
Have you seen water in the International Space Station? It floats around in little
There's no
blobs.
fucking international space station.
Okay, then how did they make
in
water
outer
fucking
space
float?
and
Did
all
they
this
put
fucking
wires on the
bullshit?
water, moron? Did they make,
Get
did
the
they put
fuck out
wires
of
in
here.
the
There ain't no
water? Make it
satellites
float
and
that
all this.
way?
Thousands of satellites. That's all some bullshit. Yo, bro.
Everything is fake
For real,
because
like,
I don't
seriously,
like it
like,
and it hurts my feelings.
Who's
and I wanna
the
feel
guest that you
special.
want? Because
All right.
you know what I mean. y'all can stay on with him.
I mean,
if you want
guys,
to, it's up to you.
I don't study this stuff like you guys. I just.
Y'all want to stay on with him?
I just no.
Y'all want to stay on with him?
No, I invited you here.
So what then?
You paid a couple tolls.
All right, so then
that's expensive.
I'm done with him.
All
okay?
right, are we done?
Like yeah.
All right.
Like get him the fuck out.
Wow.
Good Lord.
Wow.
So, yeah, that was Lord Jamar getting trounced by Professor Dave, which I thought was worth seeing because it's caught. There's loads of reactions to this video out there, and they're generally very pissed off with Lord Jamar about the way he handled himself, how he wasn't, how he was rude, how he didn't represent Flat Earth very well, how he didn't represent the conscious community very well. Some of them also see it as a white man putting down a black man. It's quite a big deal, this thing. Any comments, anyone?
Well, Gottfried, he's a comedian, right?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with any of these.
He's a comedian. But I was trying to figure out, is he also a flat earther?
No, I don't think. No, he's not.
Okay.
I was trying to work out what Dave misheard when he thought he was playing a race card.
Yeah, I guess he thought. Did they say flat something? And he thought they said black or something.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know. He would probably be expecting that, because everything's about race with those guys. You know what I mean?
I think Godfrey's had Professor Dave on since. I guess try to clear the air.
Right. Yeah. Like I say, I've seen a few. I mean, I haven't followed up because I haven't had time, but I've seen there's been quite a few videos out reacting to it, and some just pretty disgusted with Lord Jamar, really.
Yeah, I think
and
Jamal
taking the
owes him
piss
dinner.
out of him. Apparently, he's famous. I mean, I don't know anything about rappers, but apparently, he's famous enough to have had Eminem do a diss track about him. Okay, Mark Sargent is a publicity-obsessed bullshitting liar, which he ably demonstrates in this little rant.
This one's directed at Will Duffy. In addition, I would like to point out that you are giving Will Duffy way more credit than he deserves, because through my eyes, he is a third-tier used car salesman. He may be a nice guy on the surface, but his ultimate goal is media clout, like all the others, and he has stumbled every step of the way on this project. Using Flat Earth as a springboard by other people and channels is nothing new. We've watched it again and again over the years. We are the original content creators, and the rest of you are lucky to be reaction channels. Will Duffy tried to get media traction months before the trip. It didn't work. He paid $700 for a press release. As they were leaving, it wasn't great, but he did get the UK News and the New York Post to pick it up. Probably worth the money. After the trip, David was convinced that Duffy was going to be doing the talk show circuit. It never happened. Will's last chance for glory is now to create his own documentary, and that's not a walk in the park. 99% of them do not make the first cut. Unless you have a buyer lined up already, and you don't, Will, you're going to have to do film festivals, which means editing has to be finished by May at the latest so you can submit the film in time. The first festivals kick off in August, by the way. And you have to attend some of those to see what the audience thinks firsthand, and you have to place in the top 10 to even get consideration for streaming. Which leads me to the reason why the Antarctic trip has never bothered me for a second. Non-FE people do not understand the 24-hour sun. They never have. They barely understand the words flat earth. Lastly, and I have said this a bunch of times recently, no one gets into flat earth because of the 24-hour sun. They get into it because of long-distance photography, physics, or one of the space programs. I've been consistent in those points in every interview, and this trip will change literally nothing in my wheelhouse. In short, I support the team and their efforts. I'm glad it was them instead of me because it looked miserable, and I'm happy everyone returned safely so that they can continue their fight for truth, which is what everyone else should be getting back to.
Unbelievable, isn't it? He literally sits there telling you that he's going to ignore evidence because it hasn't really been of interest to him in the past. So he's just going to ignore it. But he wants to get back to truth. He's so full of shit.
Now we know why he turned down a free trip.
Right. So he wouldn't have been able to ignore the evidence in that circumstance.
Did he say that non-flat earthers don't understand the 24-hour sun?
Yeah, that's his other point, and you'll hear him make this again, that it's okay because most people don't understand it, and it's hard for people to get down there to verify it. So it doesn't matter.
Well, I would actually agree with him, though, Jim. No, I'm serious. Do you think that most people understand why there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica?
I think you're right. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that most people wouldn't really understand that. But the point is, he does understand it. And he doesn't get to ignore it because other people won't understand it or because other people generally don't visit Antarctica. It's a fact of reality that's been confirmed to him by people he knows and trusts, and who he knows in real life, and he doesn't have any path of denial, I think, from there. And yet he's found one, not denial, but just I can ignore it, because people don't understand it.
I thought his whole point was regarding making a documentary and having people be interested in it. And because most people don't know the significance of a 24-hour Antarctic sun,
I think
nobody would care about his documentary.
I don't think so. I think that was a separate point he was making, that he thinks that the only chance that Will Duffy's got of drawing publicity to this event now is to make a documentary. And he always talks about behind the curve as if he was responsible for it and he promoted it. He'll say, "Oh, we did 11 film festivals and things like this," as if he did that when he didn't. And, he described how you'd have to be there to answer questions and you'd have to go to the film festivals and all of this sort of thing, as if that's something that he did. But, of course, it isn't. But, well, actually, you'll see, I've got more to say on that, but I've got a couple more clips from this show, so I'll let them play out because some interesting stuff comes to light, I think.
It'd be hilarious if it does end up on Netflix.
Right, yeah. Okay, more from Sergeant Strange World Show now, and Witsit is surprised that flat earthers turned out to be conspiratard loons.
I was scanning some flat Earth content, seeing what they're pushing out there, and it's a bunch of shows that I've never seen. Doesn't mean they haven't been around, and they're having people on that say that they used to be flat earthers, but after TFE they're no longer flat earthers. And no, I've never seen any of these people. You can obviously tell that they're lying, but that's the narrative that they're pushing. Fake, ex flat earthers now.
Yeah, and I've run into no one has emailed me directly or texted me or left a voicemail, and I get quite a few, where they've said, "Oh, the Antarctic trip, I'm done, I'm out," and which is why I mentioned that in the rant. It's like, why would anyone get out? They didn't get into it because of it, and it's been 10 years. Why would you get out? I mean, this is you're talking red pill, blue pill. That ain't it. No one gets out of flat Earth, but anyway.
Yeah, so Austin, are you surprised by the reaction? I mean, how have you been holding up? I know you've been busy.
Yeah, I am surprised. I did expect some people, like in the scenario that we did see it, some people to say it was faked. I think I more expected people to assume that we got tricked with some type of fake sun or something, which largely has not really been said because we do have a lot of solar filter shots. Well, yeah, long story short, I thought some people that did think that the sun, a 24-hour sun, disproves flat Earth, I thought a lot of them might say it's fake because kind of cognitive denial or whatever. But most people I talked to knew that it didn't falsify flat Earth if it was there, so largely surprised. Yeah, well, I mean, obviously the model that a lot of people kind of would prop up is a map with the sun doing the circles over it, going between the tropics. And if you assume an actual position, which I mean, I've known for years can't be the case, even based on the direction of sunset past the equator, the sun's in an apparent position for each observer. But if you don't know that, then you're going to freak out. And obviously the history of it, right, why I didn't think there was one. Now, by the time we got on that plane, I'm like, okay, we're about to see a 24-hour sun. They wouldn't take us to a place the globe predicts it's there and us not see it, much less would they let people always go there. If the sun's just setting, how would no one ever know, et cetera, et cetera. But there was a lot of fakery with it, right? When I first got into flat Earth, tons of midnight sun in the north footage, nothing of the south. We point that out. Then one pops up that year and it's faked. They take the end and they stitch it onto, or they take the beginning and stitch it onto the end and just pretend it's 24 consecutive hours. It was literally faked. And then we caught it, got gaslit about it, and then they came out and admitted they did do that. And so that's really weird. And then when you combine the cameras, the webcams in Antarctica cutting out for 8 hours, going all the way back to 2004, it's like, okay, this is weird because on the AE map, if you just assume an actual position, it's not really gonna just pop in a circle around your head. So that's why, and I was right there with them. I understand it. I would have never said that it falsifies flat Earth. I would have never said I know for a fact it's not there. I would have said there's not sufficient evidence to support the claim that it's there, and there's a lot of fakery around it. And so I'm not just going to blindly believe it. So I do understand the skepticism, and I understand why people are kind of freaking out. But I just think that if you're a truther and you understand what flat Earth is, then there's really nothing, no singular piece of data that can change the preponderance of empirical evidence,
The thing I like to lead with, and tell me if you guys find a flaw in this. Okay, we want to say that the circling sun in Antarctica proves the globe. What is the circling sun? It's a ball of helium and hydrogen in a vacuum that has gravity that holds on to Pluto and ignores our moon, right? We're talking about an object that makes Narnia cringe with like, what? What is that? Helium and hydrogen in space collapsing upon itself, burning 640 billion tons a minute or an hour or whatever it's supposed to be. It's a ridiculous number. And it has gravity that can hold on to Pluto and every other planet, but it ignores our moon when our moon's coming around the sun towards the camera, around the Earth towards the sun. Shouldn't it speed up a little bit and slow down? The sun ignores that, holds on to Pluto. It's a ridiculous story. So why are we talking about that proving the globe when that can't even exist?
Well, it needs to be said real fast that to say that it proves the globe is a logical fallacy anyway. And so I covered this many times beforehand, and I was like, if it's there, awesome. Someone please lead with that in a debate. Hopefully it'll be on a huge platform when you do it, because it's a formal logical fallacy. It's affirming the consequent. If P, then Q, Q, therefore P. If the Earth is a spinning ball, there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, 24-hour sun in Antarctica, therefore Earth's a ball. It's just fallacious. I could say if Sasquatch delivers my mail, there will be mail in my mailbox on Friday, and then go check the mailbox and be like, okay, Sasquatch delivered my mail because Q, therefore P. So it's just a fallacy on its face. And then you get into what you're talking about. To even assume you would see it where it is on a globe requires tons of ridiculousness. So I was never afraid of this in terms of like intellectual debate. It's fundamentally fallacious, and people should understand that's a huge advantage for us, actually. Like, please let us be on huge platforms thinking that you're about to dominate and prove the globe, and then you're not going to.
Yeah. He's got high hopes, as Whitsit.
David Weiss just has to be the dumbest person in the room each and every time, doesn't he?
He really is awful, isn't he?
He does. The moon's orbital speed changes by about 250 odd miles an hour, depending on where the sun is, as a consequence of the sun.
Right, but it's just that style of argument that, you can do that about anything. You can make anything sound nuts if you just pick the right words to describe it.
Or you're a fucking idiot. One of the two.
It just doesn't. It's just meaningless.
Yeah, the sun holds on to Pluto with its big celestial gloved arms.
Right. But you don't need to know any of that. The sun is an object in the sky that we all recognize. That's it. You don't need to go any further
On
than
the
that.
notion that it doesn't prove globe Earth, a globe Earth is the only geometry that matches those movements. It's like, all right, so science doesn't prove shit, but in this case, it pretty much did.
Yeah, but Witz has always got about still manning the other side recently. It's the latest thing, isn't it? I didn't hear him still manning Kepler mechanics, which in the model that's given by science does allow the sun to have an orbital relationship with Pluto and the Earth-Moon system simultaneously. Funny how he didn't say a fuck all, wouldn't it?
Right. Well, I wouldn't know that. But he did say that the globe requires tons of assumptions, while he's now going with domes and crystalline domes and superfluid ceilings and all sorts of nonsense.
Well, he pretty much admitted that there's no evidence that can be presented to him that will show that the Earth is not flat.
Right. Because they've already got this preponderance of evidence, supposedly.
Well, I understand that. Which's position is religious.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You know, Witzer would come out and say, "Hey, this is my religious belief." I for one, would leave him alone.
Yeah.
What did he say?
It's getting more and more that way, though. That's the sense I have from this. It's backfiring on Duffy in that way, I think.
Remember during the,
sorry, go on.
during the trip, Witz had said, "I'm going to double down on flat Earth, and it's going to make people, spiral or something like that." Remember that?
Right. Yeah.
Remember when he said that?
Yeah. He did say that. Yeah.
I like how Weiss and Sargent were making the claims that they don't know any flat earther that has turned as if Jaren doesn't exist.
Right. And they know that Sargent has always made that claim that nobody's ever left flat Earth. But there's been loads, and he knows they have.
Myself and Tim have talked about it loads of times as well.
Right. Right, a final clip from Sargent's show now, and Whitsitt has very high hopes for Flat Earth in 2025.
The only thing that could have been proven is that the globe is false. It's not going to disprove flat Earth, because if the sun's set, that I think that ruins the globe, because the globe has a claim. But Will showed his true colors the other night when he jumped on Vika's stream. And he said he literally was triggered, and he's like, "Flat Earth is dead. It'll never recover. No one will ever join Flat Earth again." And I could assure you that's not the case. There's people joining Flat Earth faster right now than they have in the last few weeks. So, and my question is, what do you guys think? Austin, what do you think? Will, can I say that? Will McDuffie.
Just call him Duffy.
Yeah, I'll
Duffy.
call him McDuffy. Will McDuffy go back to preaching at his little church?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Yes. I question whether he was a real preacher or not. I mean, if you look at all of his sermons, there's nobody there. He's never reacting to anybody. You never hear anybody. You never see him look at anybody. He never points anyone out. No one ever makes a peep. It seems like he was in an empty church. But
I don't feel the need to even speculate about stuff like that, because I have the real dirt on Duffy. And it was a lot of the stuff was documented. Jonathan has a lot of it. Jonathan's a real flat earther. And, I'm like not even revealing everything per se. I don't trust Duffy at all. I think he's very deceptive, very manipulative, provably so. He aligns himself with McToon, etc. I don't know if he's faking being a preacher or being in a church. I don't know. So it doesn't matter. I mean, like, he's provably deceptive. Provably deceptive. I will say this. I've been predicting for a year. It's time, I got receipts that 2025 would be the biggest year for Flat Earth ever. And I said it would start towards the end of 2024. When it was at Flatoverfest, I probably said it to you. I said it when I spoke there at Flatoverfest. That kind of got, redirected with the hurricane. I've said it so many times. Said it on my stream. Said it all over other streams. And it's for many reasons that I knew that. I also felt it intuitively, and I could just tell it was going to happen. And I knew I would play a role in it, and other people would as well. And dude, could it be more like obvious that's going to happen now? Now, obviously, some people may not think that, but I think it's going to explode. Because, for one, that documentary, it's a flat earther. We have final cut and final edit. Anyone that knows anything about films, that's insane. He wants to still man the best arguments for flat earth in the documentary to explain why flat earthers exist. And then it's more of just like showing the trip behind the scenes and what we did. It's not even supposed to present any type of conclusions about it at all. And if we're not satisfied in any way, they don't get to use us. And without the flat earthers, well, who cares about your documentary anyway? So there is a route here where there's like a flat earth documentary basically that shows the real information and real evidence that potentially gets a lot of views, and otherwise we can basically just withdraw and what do they really have. And then beyond that, like I said, Candace Owens is having me on. She sent her director, and she actually FaceTimed there while we were there, and she said, "I'm pulling for the flat earthers." Right, because she resonates with the flat earthers in like every other conceivable way and agrees with us on pretty much everything. And has exposed NASA for being started with Satanists, and knows that scientism is the way that they just propagandize people and undermine the scriptures and stuff. So, Matt, like I don't think people realize the magnitude of that. Like if I get on Candace Owens and I present legitimate, good, compelling arguments and evidence for flat Earth, what do you guys think that's going to do? Just for the fact that people want clicks, they're going to start hitting me up and that's going to avalanche. We're talking about an amount of publicity that's the legitimate flat Earth arguments that's unheard of up to this point. This will be the first wave post censorship, like post the real lockdown of censorship. We're going to catapult through it with real flat Earth arguments. I mean, yeah, I don't think that can be overstated. The time is only going to make this better for us, and better even for us involved. And that's kind of what I've been telling Liz and Jaron is like, just chill. What's that saying that's oftentimes misattributed to Mark Twain is that a lie will go halfway around the world before the truth puts its shoes on. That's basically how this is going to go down. So. And, I have a whole thing, obviously, in terms of debate for this, right? Because the best argument the globe can actually make would be Occam's razor, if you have two explanations for the same phenomena, that which requires the least amount of assumptions and is the simplest is most likely to be true. And they think, oh, well, yeah, the globe says, okay, we're on a globe, we're antipodal, and we're looking at the sun and where it is, and so it spins the other way than it does in the north. But to even claim that, you have to claim the sun's extremely far away and treat the stars as infinite distances so that you can say that perspective doesn't affect the sky, and it's the only time perspective doesn't affect anything. And you're like, wait, how could you see something from infinitely far away? Well, we have to assume there's literally nothing in between us. And it makes like 30 more assumptions that are not Occam's razor to build into that claim. And so not to get into all that, but the point is that, it's not nearly as bad as people think that it is, even in terms of like a singular isolated argument. So yeah, I think it's all good. I am disappointed in certain things, of course, but I'm overall in good spirits, and I appreciate the kind words, man. But I think it's all gonna be fine.
It goes without saying. I know I've been listening in on the Discords. You sound like you've got your head in the right place, but it's still an exhausting process, right? But here we are. We're going to push forward, and then we can focus on what is the globe side missing, and that's what I'm looking forward to. And yeah.
It is, when I said during my rant that I hadn't lost any sleep on it, I literally meant that. Some years ago, if you guys remember the National Geographic thing I did, after it was over, and I've said this on a couple interviews, where a photographer came up to me, off camera, completely unsolicited, and he goes, "Hey, just so you know," he goes, "I was down there." Pretty much, I think the same situation you guys were. He goes, "I saw it." He goes, "It's there," and I go, "Oh, wow, cool." Again, this was at least 7 years, pushing 8 years ago, and I go, that's doesn't bother me a bit. Again, one, because most people cannot understand the 24-hour sun at all, and I'll give you a quick example of that. And two, no one goes down there. You guys are a perfect example. 10 years later, finally, globalists and anti-flat earthers and flat earthers go down to Antarctica for the first time.
First of all, falsification is independent of replacement. Okay, but the globe doesn't have a model. Like people always say that, and people just seem to assume that it exists. It actually doesn't have a working model. No one can ever show me like an actual 2-scale sun-Earth model with accurate sunrises and sunsets that work geometrically. And every time I say that, people think that I'm just wrong. They just assume I'm wrong. Well, just show it to me. So email it to me, witted@protonmail.com. Telegram @witted. Let me know. Show me the working model. It can be a program, whatever. Show it to me. It doesn't exist. So this whole idea of like, haha, flat Earth model, replace it. It's like you don't have a model, and you had hundreds of years and billions of dollars in the mainstream pushes you, et cetera, et cetera. Like we're figuring it out. Now we got a new data point. I knew flat Earthers that told me 2-3 years ago there was a 24-hour sun. Right? Like they were like, I think there is one, or I have a friend who said there is one, and I'm just like, this is like Discord hearsay at this point. I've seen too much fakery. Like I don't know.
Ah, dear.
What the hell was that?
Did he really say the model could be a program? Because we've given him lots of programs.
Right.
Timeanddate.com.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Didn't he say the same thing about 22, 23, and 24 also?
Well, I mean, if I look at online the word orrery, which is something that's been constructed for centuries. It says it's the mechanical model for the solar system that shows the relative positions and motions of the planets and the moons according to the heliocentric model. Now, what the fuck is all that about then?
But they're not to scale, though. That's the trick. That's his get out. They're not to scale.
Right. That's what I was
Because of course
thinking.
they can't be fucking to scale because you'd never fucking see the planets.
Right, but there are the ones to scale, right? Isn't the one in Australia somewhere? I'm thinking. You know where they built.
I don't think it's in Australia.
They made it like it's like a walk or something like that in a city, and they've got the sun in the middle, and then you can walk so far. I can't remember how far out you walk, but it's probably a mile or two or something like that. I don't know.
There's a few of those in the world.
Yeah.
There's also
Veritasium did one.
Italy. It's in Italy. It's one of them.
Yeah,
right.
It's in, I think one in New York City or something. But the other one is if the Earth was 1 pixel, which is to scale, and the Earth is 1 pixel on your screen, you have to scroll forever to get to the Earth.
Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah.
I mean, the 24-hour sun thing, you only needed a sphere rotating on an axis tipped over at any scale in a distant light source. There's your fucking 24-hour sun. I mean, why do people struggle with that idea that something rotating in light has got a bit that's always in the light if you tip it at an angle?
And what was with his bullshit about the stars being an infinite distance away? Nothing we can see is an infinite distance away. He's just fucking straw manning there.
But you heard Sargent again talking about how no one understands it, and it's taken 10 years for you to go down there. So the guy that came up to me, I just ignored him for 10 years.
Sargent was offered a free trip too and turned it down for some odd reason.
Right.
He's not bothered because most people don't understand it. Well, what kind of just?
I know.
Why would you say that?
I know. It's unbelievable, isn't it? It's like, oh, we'll just keep quiet about that one. You know, most people won't notice. You know,
it's crazy.
Okay.
To him having a go at Duffy and calling him deceitful and deceptive and so forth. Like,
I know.
Scumbag.
I know. They've got to demonize, haven't they? And you know, you heard Witsy. I've got the real dirt on him, and you know, and they're talking about this pro-flat Earth documentary. But I wonder quite how they'll pull that off, really, because
Witsy claimed
that, you know, they laid out in advance what they're expecting to see, and then they won't see it. They'll see what they were told they were going to see by the opposing side, and I just wonder how they're going to find a way of presenting that in a way that's positive to them. And Whitsitt seems to think that he'll be getting on all these big shows and, you know, presenting good flat Earth arguments. But I think if he's going on any shows now, the story that they're going to want to hear is, you know, how did it feel to find out you were totally wrong? That would be the human interest that I would want. But, you know, I guess I have got a vested interest.
Just quickly, Witsett made the claim when he got back that all the flat earthers weren't given the Wi-Fi password for approximately 18 hours. And it surfaced later that he's seen on camera 90 minutes after arriving.
Spoiler alert, I've got a video on this.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
No worries. Okay, at great risk of indoctrination from the Chinese Communist Party, who are a fantastic organization, I might add, I gathered a few final experiment reaction videos from TikTok. Take a look.
Guys, I am thrilled about this so-called 24-hour sun supposed Antarctic footage. This footage annihilates a ball. As typical, heliocentric flat Earth deniers tried to hijack the truth. Their problem is these flat Earth deniers forgot that this is not 1969. Back in 1969, everybody believed what they saw on TV, anything that was on TV. They believed that Nixon called the moon from a landline in the Oval Office. We're not falling for it anymore. We're not falling for the banana in the tailpipe.
In this video, we will compare how the sky looks completely different with northern midnight sun footage compared to TFE footage and even other sun footage from Antarctica. You will notice in footage from TFE, the entire sky remains a bright blue color the entire time in all directions. In all other midnight sun videos, the sky changes color based on the sun's location and distance from the observer. A sky that always Notice when the sun is visually lower in the sky, it and the entire sky changes color and brightness. In TFE's videos, when the sun appears to lower in rays, it and the sky remain the same color and brightness.
Take a close look at this sequence and notice the shadow of the aerial on the blue building. It moves clearly and consistently, as if the sun is shifting across the sky. Now shift your attention to the small tripod shadow in the foreground. It doesn't move at all. This is an undeniable contradiction. If the sun is positioned, as they say, 93 million miles away, is truly the light source, all shadows should move in unison and at the same rate, regardless of their position in the scene. But that's not what we see here. The aerial shadow changes direction while the tripod shadow remains fixed. This suggests two entirely different light behaviors within the same scene, an impossibility under natural sunlight. The only plausible explanation is manipulation. Layers of footage may have been composited or digitally altered, but inconsistencies in shadow movement exposes the trickery. This is clear evidence that the footage is not authentic. The lighting and shadows in this scene defy the laws of nature, and no amount of excuses can reconcile these blatant errors.
Cap. This is snow. This is my house alone. I'm in Canada. So when I leave, I go footprints. You see that? This is my footprints. Okay, let me take this one out. I got a footprint right there. Okay. I got from here, I got a footprint. I got a footprint here. I got a footprint here. So if I keep going, okay, here is smooth. I'm gonna walk on the smooth place so you can see my footprints. You see? I got a footprint. So why in the final experiment we don't see no footprints? We only see things that have been edited into the footprints. It doesn't make no footprints when we see it. So I want to understand that. I got so many footprints back at me. See?
So a load of Freemasons and insiders have gone to the South Pole, supposedly, gone to Antarctica, giving us this footage, and this somehow proves that we're living on this. I want us to believe that this footage is because these people are on the bottom of this, looking at the sun 93 million miles away, while this is rotating. Whatever this footage is and however it's been attained, first and foremost, it stinks of inside job. And secondly, all you're showing is a local light moving around a plane. Look at the state of the sun in this. Look at how it's changing shape. What is going on with the sun there? It's circular and then it's oblong. It looks like a reflection. It looks like this is filmed in some sort of studio. Please explain to me how this footage proves that we're on this, spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, going around that, whatever that is, at 67,000 miles per hour. It proves nothing. Desperate attempts to throw people off the scent because this is coming out. It's not going away. It can't be debunked. No, flat Earth isn't dead. In fact, it's given more momentum. It's given more power because these pathetic attempts show us how desperate they are to stop this all coming out and the truth being exposed.
Biggest Dogger says, I keep expecting him to say, in milk, brilliant. If you're British, you'll understand that. Good one, Biggest Doggers.
I mean, you know, This is the
And
group
you
of people
notice when
saying
they
that
were showing the shadows that were apparently not moving in unison, that he was only taking the moment when it went past the building, but didn't go past the other one that he was pointing out. Like it was very, very carefully curated clip,
Yeah.
The
and it
shadows
showed
were
exactly what
moving
I
in
would
that
have
video.
expected to see.
The shadows were totally moving. He's just blind.
Yeah.
But to be clear, this is the group of people that so obviously think their wits is completely lying.
Right. He's an
And never
insider.
even changed colors.
He's an
It's
insider
blue the
or
entire time.
he's an insider or a Freemason, according to that last guy.
There you go. Can't win, can you? Really?
I
really
could
can't.
I could understand that guy going on about the footprints as to, if you're used to soft snow and you're used to seeing footprints, I can understand why that guy was confused. But the rest of them were fucking pathetic.
Right, shall we move on? When you are desperate to cling on to an absurd internet fantasy, you have to deploy all of the weaponry that conspiratardism has to offer. So let's transvestigate Witsit.
Yeah, I'm dropping a picture of when I'm like 5 holding a turtle, trying to ask this guy, how does this work in the theory that I'm a girl? I'm like genuinely curious.
Yeah, so the simplified version of like the edge cases of, looking at Serena Williams, looking at the Macron girl, looking at Michelle Obama, like these cases to where you see photos of them when they're really young and they actually present as like their, normal gender. But if anything, those are the cases to deflect away from, in this conception, it starts essentially from birth or even before birth.
Oh my God, dude. So I've already been transitioned in this picture is your idea?
That is the conception, yeah. And a
No,
picture
don't say that
of,
is the conception. Say it with your chest, bro. You're claiming that I'm a girl. But don't say that is the conception.
Yeah, so that is the idea, and that is what is being posited.
Okay.
And a picture when you're 5
I'm convinced you're trolling, dude.
if anything, just a misunderstanding of the point, which is kind of what has to happen. That picture was posted on your public Facebook page. Like, it's not a new picture.
Oh, there I am when I played football in college. Did I play football when I was actually a girl?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't deny that.
Don't entertain that. Don't entertain
Oh my God. No, I think it's
This
funny,
is-
bro.
this
Like, you
is just
believe I
the-
played college football as a female?
Yeah, this is just the basic thing, is that if you completely try to misunderstand the
The depressing
conception
part
as
about
much
retards
as
is
possible,
Football is brutal, bro. Like I played strong safety. So a
Worst-
wing
that's
back
the
slot
worst
receiver. So I also ran the ball. Bro, I was laying people out in this world that you live in. Like a female was doing that. And so it shows that you actually don't understand bone density and skeletal structure at all. You think that women can compete with men in like sports? Like actual contact sports? Is that what you think?
yeah, so this is the thing, is that it's people say, oh, women are obviously so much worse. And then if, women transition into men later in life, they don't suddenly gain like magic athletic powers. They may get, big muscles. That's really easy to do. But they don't get that sort of athletic bravado. But nobody has the comparison point of somebody who's been on various different hormones, various different surgeries, all of these things to optimize this from birth. Everybody that you know as
the hormones don't change bone density, dude.
estrogen, that's just factually not true, as an estrogen has a very large amount in maintaining bone density.
So I have a quick question. When are you going to release your footage?
It's already released.
That's from Duffy's camera. Where's your camera? Where's a non-fisheye? Where's, I thought you had your own footage.
Nope.
A non-fisheye 360? Are you okay?
Yeah, I mean, for the last decade, Jaren's been talking shit. Yeah, don't use a 360 then. Why do you have
Okay,
to?
well, why
is
don't
there
you
8
go?
people?
Leave your house
Why
and
is there
go
8
somewhere.
people
Why don't you
and
go?
everybody has the same camera? What was the point of sending everybody just to have the same camera? I don't understand.
That isn't even
Jaren's
true. There was
been on
another
fisheye
lens there that
for
did
10
solar
years.
filter shot.
Okay,
This
for
is
10
an
years,
example of the
Darren's been
differences
talking.
between men and women.
No,
This
let
You
me
one's
don't know what
stealing,
you're
let
the
me
talking
other one
finish.
about.
isn't.
Jaren had a different camera. There were a few 360 cameras. McKeegan had one with the solar filter on it. They weren't all the same camera. What you just said is objectively false. Now you're going to pretend that it
Okay,
didn't
so
happen. It doesn't
Duffy.
matter that way. Now you're going to pretend that it doesn't matter and that what you said was
No,
objectively false.
is
So you can just keep
Duffy's
saying false
footage your
things. And
footage, or did Duffy take your footage, or do you take Duffy's footage? Because it's the
I've
same.
explained this multiple times, but you're a terrible researcher in every subject ever. So I'll say it again. Because
Yes,
instead
please
of
do.
actually researching things, you make
Researching
accusations.
what? Listening to you for 10 hours a day on Discord? Yeah, no, I don't listen
What?
to you for
No,
10 hours a
just
day.
then stop
Just,
making false claims.
just explain who took whose
Okay.
footage. Then. Is that
Okay.
Duffy's
I
footage or is
went.
that your footage?
Yes, it's Duffy's footage. Yes,
Okay,
I
so
went
where
down.
is your footage?
Oh my
Why are you so
God,
angry?
dude!
Why are you so angry? Like,
I'm
calm
not
down
angry.
and talk to
Like
him with
you're
respect.
pretending to ask me
I'm asking a
questions, and then
question.
you're interrupting me every time I go to answer your question.
I
Look,
just
ma'am,
haven't
you gotta
answered it.
calm down. You gotta listen. Close your mouth.
I just want you to answer it. That's why I won't let you
I
answer
want
it.
you to answer. Where's your footage? You just said it's
I have
Duffy's footage.
repeatedly started trying to answer that question, and you keep interrupting me. Okay, so I've said this a few times now. I'll say it again. So we were only told that we could bring a 55-pound checked bag and then a 22-pound carry-on. So all I could bring was a P900. I brought a bunch of charger blocks. I brought a GoPro and an Insta360. When I went down there, my Insta360 needed a firmware update. He wouldn't give the flat earthers the Wi-Fi password for like the first 10 hours. Only the Globers had it. I couldn't even update my camera. I put my P900, which would have had to been manually tracked for the 24-hour sun or whatever. I was actually trying to get solar filter shots and videos with my camera. I put it on there. Jaren came out like 5-6 hours in, and I had my camera pointed at the sun, and then I started to take the solar filter shot off the camera. He like freaked out, thought it was his camera or whatever, tried to grab it and move it down away from the sun, and like literally broke my P900, like broke it. Like there's a hole in the bottom of it because he snapped it off the tripod.
Is he gonna pay for that?
What?
That's
Well,
bullshit.
it didn't. Yeah, it sucks, but like Jaren's my friend. I'm not gonna be like, yo, man, give me your money right now. I'm putting together an entire site that's gonna have everything in it, like all the receipts of everything. So it's just taking a long time. I'm having to upload everything to Google Drive, and then I'm having to build a site so that everyone can go there. I'm extracting all the telemetry data from the GoPro stuff. I'm doing that right now. So it's just taking time to put everything together. But the big footage is out, although Stone put it out in like 720, so it's not that good.
Are you gonna call it audit TFE? Or what are you gonna call the website?
No, but even that is like, I know that's like this backhanded thing about how that didn't really do much. Like, dude, I spent $2,000-$3,000 out of pocket just to like pay for the site and the program that we use, and no one would like actually help with it or donate with it. So I couldn't actually afford to keep doing it. I'm the only person that actually went undercover and talked to multiple astronauts and got them filmed contradicting themselves in line. No one else was doing it. So it's like I couldn't afford to keep running that thing. It could get picked back up technically, but it's all the people that don't do anything want to complain about how well I do something. It's like, just do something too. Like go help. Why did no one help with that, right?
Could you use that website instead of having to start a whole new website for this and just like change
I'm just using
edits and stuff?
a Google site. So like it's a free website, right? Right. So
I mean,
that still won't be good enough.
No, I'm sure it would be, but when we look at your page, like on YouTube and BitChute and stuff, it just shows Duffy's footage. So like, it's just adding to it. Like maybe just drop a couple of videos that like, or one even that's got some stuff in it from your own footage. So then you can actually say, yeah, I dropped my own footage. Because right now you still technically haven't dropped your own stuff yet, right? I mean.
Like if I'm gonna put all my GoPro videos together, for example, I have to still put them all together and then like render it, export it, and then process and upload it.
You don't have to put them all together. You one at a time.
Wait, it's your job. That's what you do.
Oh, really? How much do I get paid for this job that you're talking about?
Well, you're on the Discord 24/7, so.
And I'm
maybe you should get a real job then.
I'm doing stuff. I have a real job. I run multiple businesses. What do you do?
Oh, I do plenty. Don't worry about me. You're the one on here trying to defend yourself 24/7.
So everything you just said was directly debunked, and then you just pretend it didn't happen. This is the problem with you people. Like, you guys make all these accusations and claims and implicit claims, and then when they're directly rebutted and refuted, you don't even like stop for a second to think maybe I should stop
You
being a
said it was
douchebag.
on Telegram. You didn't say.
John, calm down for a second.
Brian, shut up. Nobody's talking.
Shut the fuck up.
I need you to answer a question. Are you asking for this because you're not convinced that he went? Why are you asking for us?
Why do you care? I'm not talking to you, Brian. Shut the fuck up for a minute, please. Jesus.
So that was interesting, wasn't it?
Well, she was right. Brian should shut up.
Yeah.
Oh, the irony of Whitsett accusing other people of not doing their research and then not believing stuff after they've been debunked.
Right. Unbelievable, isn't it? Just unbelievable.
There we are, you see. We've come full circle. Literally, in 6 months since the Olympics, Whitsett is having to post chartered photographs just like Amani Khalif.
Right, yeah. That's so true.
I mean, I was there for that particular conversation. I was there for that particular conversation, and Anti-Truth to Soul, the woman you heard, she was she'd asked Gio, who's running the server, if she could come over and do a presentation. I mean, what she presented was absolutely shit. It looked like she was fighting to the death with a PowerPoint rather than using it. And then her and Jason just came in, and it just literally became that, just a tirade of abuse with nothing to do with anything what he's done. There's a group of them that have clearly decided he's a complete problem now.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, she's always been like this sort of, like high school bitch. You know what I mean?
Right.
She's always had this sort of very, I don't know, juvenile approach to it all, I always thought.
Right. I thought that, the fact that he's having to put, photographs of him as a boy on to a flat earth server. I mean, what if it's a girl? I mean, what are these people like? Oh yeah, when we found out that Mario Curie, discovered uranium, we had to accuse him of being Marie Curie instead. I mean, what the fuck's going on? Because you're a woman, everything's nullified.
Right. I mean, how does this change what the sun does? Right. It doesn't make any difference, does it? It's just
absolutely mental.
It's just an opportunity to attack another human being, isn't it? Really.
It does just feel like that, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah. Okay, more from Whitsett and lunatic wannabe high schooler Rusted Soul now. We answer more important questions like, how much did Nike pay Whitsett?
Well, no, we can keep talking about
Nathan's got a name. This person doesn't even have a name. We're getting trolled by
Dude, you claimed Bob did fake his death, and I saw him dead. Think about how crazy I think you are.
That's fine. You could think I'm crazy, but you can answer the question.
You're objectively crazy. You said Bob faked his death. I saw him
Brian
dead.
still talking? Can somebody mute him? I don't understand why he's allowed to cause 80 when we're talking one-on-one and he just keeps yelling in the background. How much did Nike pay you? I've seen you rock Nike several times.
You think Nike pays random flat earth YouTubers money?
Who's going to make a Netflix documentary? Yeah, I do.
It's not going to be on Netflix. Where did you get that?
Well, the last one was on Netflix, so why wouldn't you just
do you know what a non sequitur is?
Do you know how to answer a question? How much did Nike pay?
Yeah, that was me.
I don't know, didn't pay me anything. That's an insane question. They barely even pay professional athletes. You have to be at the top of a professional sports to even get a Nike deal. You think that they pay me because I wear Nike stuff? You know why I wear Nike stuff? I think it's fresh and it's very durable. And you think that you're somehow better because you go to Walmart and buy something?
Why are you wearing sunscreen? That's another thing that contradicted
all
the stuff we talked about. You're like, oh, sunscreen.
Yeah, hold on a second. Why do you care if Whitsett or anyone else, for that matter, goes to Antarctica and says anything about what they see there? Why do you care? I don't see the logic behind that.
I care because they're the second video ever to show supposed 24-hour sun in Antarctica. I don't believe it. All of the people, the interviews from actual people who were there say that the sun sets around like 8:45-ish. So I just am saying, hey, where's your footage? Because so far he said that he put out his footage. When I first came in here, I said, where's your footage? And he said, oh, I dropped it already. And I said, no, that's Duffy's, right? And he corrected me. Yes, it is Duffy's. Okay, so where's your footage? Oh, I posted it on Telegram. Okay, well, why is it that hard to post what you post on Telegram and other things? Like there's Rumble.
This is why you don't have a successful channel. You don't
YouTube,
know how to run one.
Where I'm just asking where it is. I don't know why this is so.
Okay, so you just made a claim. Hold on. You just made a claim that you said you have people that have been there that said
Yeah.
they set at 8 whatever time.
Yeah, there's lots of footage of people saying that there is no 24-hour sun in Antarctica. So
So
weird
real
that
quick,
these
Rusted,
guys
are you?
come.
Where?
Time
of
the year
Well, hold on, I
Or
can.
research again.
Let me just clarify what she's
Hold
talking
on,
about real quick. So
Benjamin.
Rusted, are you sure? Hold on, I'm gonna.
She made a claim I wanted to prove. And she just says
I just
there's a
want to
bunch
ask
of.
her if she's aware of what happened with that video that she's talking about.
What happened with that video I'm talking
Are
about?
you aware that where they were located is not actually Antarctica, that they were on outlying islands?
Yes.
Okay, so then that wouldn't even be relevant.
But that's not just the only people though. There's other people that were at the 79-degree mark that were working there. I can
No, they're
post
not.
links for
No, there's
elbows.
not.
He's clearly.
So what you're talking
You'll
about
never
there
drop a link to what you just said. You just made it up.
is during the
I
winter.
didn't make it up.
Yes, you
What
did.
you're
There's
talking
no
about
one
there
that
is
was at 79 degrees and said they saw the sunset in late December. You made that up.
Yeah,
Okay.
you might be talking about like June or something like that, but yeah, it's a
Okay. Well, I'm
Because
allowed
in
to
that
ask
video,
questions. Am I
You
not?
also
Like,
made
is
up
this
the
not?
8:45 thing. You're not asking questions. You're
Yeah,
making
8:45.
false
That's what that
claims.
woman said on the footage from the
No,
islands or
okay,
whatever.
but
That was
it
just
does. You
on the
said it
outskirts.
always sets at 8:45. There's a
Not
testimony of
always.
people
At her
that were
time
on
that she was
cruises.
talking about was at 8. That particular video, it said 8:45. I can link
Okay.
the video.
So
Do
Calm
you
down.
okay? Let's see if you just understand any of this. Like, what is it that causes that? What variables do you have to take into account to know when the sun's going to set out near Antarctica? What's relevant? What do you need to know?
What time of year it is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and your
Like I
latitude.
understand
Okay,
that in
and your
like if
latitude.
is it yes. So is it
Right.
only 4 days or is it what is it in the north? I keep hearing everybody say it's identical to the north. So there should be like a 3-month. Am I wrong? Is it 3 months the gap that where you can supposedly see the 24-hour sun in the north? And is it
That's
only 4 days in
no.
Antarctica?
It's supposedly months. Supposedly for months when you go there, if you go far enough south. Now, obviously, I can't verify that. I was only there for a few days. But there's testimony, for example, of someone that's on a cruise that's actually just outside the Antarctic Circle, quote unquote, right? And she says that the sun set around like 11 and then rose around 2 a.m.
So why is it at the 79-degree mark in on the north does it not match the south? Like the whole background, the whole blue sky like turns like a darker shade of blue when the sun is moving down and further away. It's going at a slower rate also than what you guys showed. It doesn't match. Like the actual sun is bigger. It looks like a different shade. Like it's like your guys' sun was more white, theirs was more like yellowish tinted, and the actual sun dimmed down, or the actual background dimmed down. Your guys' background stays the same the whole time, like the same shade of blue. And you guys
Okay.
keep claiming that it's the exact same in the north and the south, but it's not. And even
What? I never claimed that.
even the little people moving around, like you got, like, you know, the fast forwarded, like when you compare that to other time lapses, like the other time lapses are twice as long in length, and the people are moving like so fast you can they're like dots. You can barely see them. But for some reason, your guys' isn't matching up as far as the timing, like around
Do
it.
you
And
notice? Do you notice how all your claims is you guys? Are you asking him, or are you saying what other flat
you
earthers
guys,
are saying?
it's
Because you
not
keep
his
saying you
footage.
guys.
His footage. It's Duffy's footage that he posted and
What's the
said was his footage.
relevance? I was
It's not.
there
It's
and
not
watched it be
irrelevant
filmed.
because that's not your footage. It was
I
Duffy's
didn't say
footage.
it's
So
irrelevant. I said, what's the relevance? I was there
what's
verifying that
relevant
it
is
was
that your
filmed.
footage does not match with the North at all. And everyone keeps saying in here over and over and over that it matches identically when it does not.
Name one
So at
person that
least
said
be
that.
honest with that. At least
Name
be
one
honest
person
with
that
that.
said that.
It's not
I
everyone.
Yeah,
never said that.
nobody has
Gio
said
has
that.
said
We
it. I have
actually
it
have
recorded
made
countless times.
we've had discussions in here about them being a little different, and we were wondering if that could be because of the reflection of the dome. So I would just suggest to you, Rusty, so my grandfather told me this: when the whole world around you seems to have gone crazy, you might just need a nap.
Good advice there. Roger that says, please be sure to like and share and subscribe. Jem puts a fair bit of work into these shows. Give the lad some love. Very good advice. Thank you for that, Roger. Very, very much appreciated.
Okay, I just want to point out that us gingers, sometimes we wear sunscreen at night. So I don't know what she's blabbering about.
Yeah, apparently he's talked against, sunscreen's bad, bad for your health and all that. But she is nuts, isn't she? She hasn't got a clue what she's talking about. It's just
Dude,
nuts.
she sounds like really
she fits
fucking
in so
dumb.
perfectly with the flat
Did you
Earth.
see how she was trying to say like, oh well, Geo said this, well Geo said that, like, well, just another fucking idiot flat earther, like.
I mean, the bit where there's a bit there where Whitsitt is denying that or dismissing the quote people who worked on the reports at the sunset. I mean, how deliciously ironic.
I know.
Oh, you'll never get anybody to say that. You never get anybody on. Oh, what? You've made. Oh, I know someone who worked down there as an engineer. He said never sets, but I don't know. That was very well 6 months ago.
But she hadn't got a clue, had she? Because she said, "Oh, the people said the sun sets about 8:45." What? All year, all the time? It never changes. And then when they quizzed her on it, oh, do you know what that video was about? Oh, they were on outlying islands. Oh, yeah, I knew that. Oh, well, why did you say it then? Oh, but there's other videos from people where you were, who were where you were. All right, well, why didn't you mention that? Just really crappy argumentation. Very poor, I thought.
I truly believe that they don't understand that.
Really suiting for her on that Discord call, anti-truther, 100%. That's what she is.
Right.
She's just a big liar.
I truly think that some of these people don't understand that the South Pole is part of Antarctica, not all of Antarctica.
Right.
That's
always
big problem.
By the way, it's always nice to hear Jakushi on there vociferously defending Whitsitt.
Yeah.
as a globe earther.
Yeah.
Did Whitsitt ever post his video? I don't think he ever did.
I don't know. I can't keep up with it all. There's so many of them. I mean, I don't really care, I already knew what the sun did, I don't need to see a video of it.
Look, this will be the next Whitsitt gate. It was first vape gate, now it'll be video gate.
Yeah, go ahead. The main man from the Sunday roast game. I don't care about the videos anymore.
Yeah. Hard as it is to believe, Whitsitt has not been honest about the final experiment. Here is some analysis from MC Toon.
Basically conspiring, they're always kind of whispering. All the Globers know the inside information. We go out to the other place, we set up the Starlink, we get the Wi-Fi. The Globers have the Wi-Fi. McToon has the Wi-Fi password. Mark set up the attempted 24-hour live stream, has the password. Duffy does. Duffy's going to do a stream at 12. McToon's going to do a stream at 2 a.m. And it's like Critical Thinks over there on his computer. McKeegan's on his computer. Everyone's got the Wi-Fi password, but they refuse to give the Flat Earthers the Wi-Fi password. And that was the case for 18 hours. Like Duffy never gave me the password. Duffy's not the way I got the password.
Now we have Wi-Fi, and then that's when we don't get the Wi-Fi password, but the Globers do. And I was very attentive. I was watching the whole thing. So Mark got it. They started doing the live stream. They were going to try to do a 24-hour live stream with the sun. And Duffy has it. He's like, I'm going to do the TFE channel live stream. McToon has it. He's doing a 2 a.m. live stream. And I start paying attention. All the Globers have it. McToon has the Wi-Fi. McKeegan has the Wi-Fi. Critical Think has the Wi-Fi. I mean, they're on computers.
So
and he's specifically telling us we can't have the Wi-Fi.
He specifically told you can't have it? Why?
He said that he wanted to limit the bandwidth so that we didn't jeopardize the live streams because he didn't know how many different things he could have on it because, he had just set it up where everybody wanted to jeopardize it. But,
So
conveniently, of
conveniently,
course,
all
we
the
were the ones
Globers-
that were chopped off, I guess.
All the Globers had Wi-Fi access simultaneously, but then you guys would have been too much.
Yeah, I mean, I paid attention. Every single one of them had it, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was for some hours. Let's just say I may have done some snooping around, and Mark is actually pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? And then ended up getting it a little bit sooner. But
we get the Starlink set up, and then they don't give the Flat Earthers the Wi-Fi password. They give it to Mark to do the attempted 24-hour live stream that crashed, and then Duffy sets up his live stream. McToon sets up his live stream, and they got them all scheduled, but they're not giving us the Wi-Fi. So we got taken away from the camp that has Wi-Fi, and then set up a Wi-Fi in our own place. But then so we were basically unable to really check in with people unable to like try to quickly do a live stream or anything like that for like many hours, you know, like a 7-8 hours or maybe till the next morning.
Oh shit, I'm sorry. Go for it.
Yeah, but we're away from the main camp. So they kind of set this up, of course. I think they had this one here. So this is like, so you look out and like,
And that was the case for like 18 hours. Like,
if they have internet at the main camp, they have to come here. So everyone, like, this is not. Like, this was only here because when they were running the marathon, this was like their half the month.
so sorry.
They come in.
BRB.
If they needed to, right? So we're taking shifts for the first 24 hours. So some of us can always be monitoring all of this. Hours. This is a little room. It's just like everyone's got sleeping bags. It's a little crammed.
and that was the case for like 18 hours. Like.
So that turned out to be bullshit, apparently.
Why did he need Wi-Fi down there to record a video?
So he could live stream, and he's been saying that he was refused the Wi-Fi password. I mean, excuse me.
He was still able to record his video, right?
Right, but he was live streaming there. But the thing is, it was Duffy's Starlink that Duffy had paid for. He wasn't required to share it with anyone. But apparently, he never even asked for the Wi-Fi password. He got it from somewhere else, but apparently he got it about an hour and a half after it was set up, not the 18 hours that he's been claiming.
It's all a misunderstanding. See, the password was I don't know.
What, Termin?
Elizabeth was sitting on that stream like a stunned mullet when he was spouting off that bullshit, but she would have known, surely.
I was just saying the Wi-Fi password was simply I don't know. He just didn't understand.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not entirely sure what is going on in this next clip. Take a look.
So the cool thing about this is you can zoom in on the screen. Can you see it? So running right up here, a right angle all the way across, and it looks like things converge into this corner. And if you look at down here, right, this line runs all the way from almost this camera. Okay, so let's zoom in on it again. On this footage from this 360 camera, there's obviously 360 of some kind of a screen that's projected for it. Come all the way across to a right angle, cuts all the way down to the
Hey, what's going on here? Where's the rope?
See it? Right over here, right where my mouse is. You just pull it, pull it right down. And you can see it. It's like a mirror projection across from one to the other. I mean, it's so obvious now that I've zoomed in on it. It's just crazy. So here we go. I haven't done, like, this is the first thing I found that was really anomalous for me. So, and I have, people can claim whatever they want about the other shadows and all this stuff. Nothing explains this to me better than they're using some kind of 3D screens. Like, how else do you define that there's this right angle in the sky there? Other than it's just another part of the LED wall. And they thought they would have edited all this stuff out, I guess. I don't know.
What if
but here it is.
a flat earther were to roast
I pray on this
everybody?
stuff. Like, oh my God, if this is fake, please let me find it.
Oh.
And I found something really fake. So it looks fake because it blends right here at this line. And when I'm looking on a 4K screen, I'm videoing on my phone. But when I look at it and I blow it up on my Mac, it's just so obvious. There it is. The blending of the footage comes all the way up into the sky, all the way up, makes a right angle and cuts back to the left. So there you have it. I don't know why they'd have to fake it, but it definitely looks like it to me.
Yeah, that's
days ago. What? Go ahead.
That's pretty bad. I hadn't seen that either.
No, I hadn't either. Can you put a link to that?
Yeah.
All right. Wait, guys. So I have the person whose video is this. He's right now with us. All right. So, Kevin, welcome to the panel, my brother. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be with you guys.
And it's funny, like I saw Vika going after the TFE, and we're all wondering, what's the point of this? And I had no idea that Jaron and Whitsitt were engaged in a contract with Will Duffy. You think, oh, we're just going to go down, we're going to take some video, and then you find out they're on a contract and that there's some kind of a movie that they're going to create. And I had no idea that Amazon had these massive 3D screens, right? Until I saw Eric Dubé's video.
So, what do you think that was? Was that the 3D camera? Was it burn on his monitor?
It was the 360 camera, and there's two lenses,
Right.
one on each side. And when it converges, or when it's at the center point of the two lenses, it kind of glitches. But that's a known thing with 3D cameras, apparently.
Yeah, it's not something you can if they're really worried about it, they could set a 3D camera in an environment with just one color light, one color density, and they see the same artifact.
Right.
Take 10 minutes.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
did
lots
they
of
have
artifacts.
a regular camera recording the 3D camera like they wanted? So
No, that's true. They didn't have that, did they?
Well, apparently Duffy said, you'll hear later, that I think he said they had 10 cameras running at one time.
Yeah. When did they? What day were they first down there? What day did they land? By the way,
I can't even remember.
Wasn't it like 14th or 15th?
Wasn't it the 18th? I thought it was the 18th. No, you might be right. 14th or 15th.
Okay, so on the 5th, so I mean, if it was the 15th, then that would be interesting because Whitsitt Gets It's got live from Antarctica stream on the 15th of December.
Right.
And if so when did he land? I'm sure if I dug into that the HTML there, it would tell me exactly when he started his live stream.
I mean, we could make an excuse for him that they'd been up a very long time. They were very tired, and he wasn't getting any visual clues as to what time of day it was. So maybe he got confused about the time or something. But I think he felt like he needed to have some something that he could criticize Duffy for, so that he could be in unison with other people who are criticizing Duffy and him collectively. You know what I mean?
That's a very good observation, actually. That would kind of make sense.
It's just so
Yeah.
it's just so stupid of them because this interview took place after.
It sounds very entitled.
This interview took place like a week or two after the fact, right?
Have you got Squatting Dog turned down, VD?
Because if it's the case that it was like much after the fact, it's like literally on a timeline for when things happen. And like, why would he still try and perpetuate the lie? Even if he was mistaken initially. One could literally just fact check him, be like, well, y'all landed at this time, and then you were on live like 2 hours later.
Right.
Where's their 18 hours?
Well, because he can say that because most people won't bother to check, will they?
Yeah.
Okay, many of the arguments directed at the final experiment seem to have come from Eric Dubé's video. True to form, we heard it mentioned in the last clip, true to form, Dubé has added little himself and has mostly compiled content from various flatty loons. Here is his video, played at X2, because he is so fucking monotonous. I hope this works. This is a bit of an experiment, but let's see.
As footage continues releasing, and astute internet sleuths continue analyzing anomalies and inconsistencies, it's becoming increasingly clear that the so-called Final Experiment's 24-hour Antarctic sun was just another faked event recorded on a film set. Unbeknownst to most, for the past few years, portable, panoramic, 360-degree LED studio setups now exist and are being used for Hollywood productions like The Mandalorian and many others. Amazon Volume, or Amazon Studio 15, for example, are state-of-the-art studios which take the standard of green or blue screen technology and completely blow it out of the water. With new 360-degree panoramic LED screen studios, the entire background and ceiling or sky are digitally created in Unreal Engine, then projected live in up to 16K resolution, so the actors on set can see, react, and interact with everything in real time. Amazon sets comprise 3,000 seamlessly connected LED panels, 80 feet in diameter and nearly 3 stories tall, enclosing 130,700 cubic feet of interactive space. Keeping all this in mind, let's review some footage from the final experiment. To begin with, watch the supposed sun circling around during their 24-hour time-lapse video, and pay close attention to its shape. Notice how the sun changes from circular to being... Now, pay attention to the changes in length and direction of McToon's shadow as he paces around the base camp. In the space of walking only a matter of feet, his shadow somehow completely changes direction and triples in length. Watch as his shadow stretches, contracts, and sharply changes angles within the space of just a few paces. This is not at all normal behavior of shadows being cast by sunlight, or of a man walking only a few steps. The following is a simple demonstration of how light and shadows work depending on the distance of the light source. In the first example, the light source is held close to the action figure as he moves along the table, and we see quite pronounced changes in the length and direction of his shadow. In the second example, the light source is held farther away from the action figure as he moves along the table, and we see much less change in the shadow length and direction. In reality, the sun is much farther away in scale than this demonstration allows for as well, so even the amount of change seen here is being generous. A man walking such a short distance outside should never have a shadow that changes direction 90 degrees and triples in length. Now let's watch as McToon and Austin Whitsitt respond to commenters asking them to show their breath in the Antarctic. As they blow hot air out their mouths in freezing temperatures, there should be a cloudy mist that forms in front of their faces as the water vapor in their breath condenses. Instead, however, every time they blow, not a trace of fog appears. In Whitsitt's livestream, he claimed this was because the air was allegedly too dry there. Someone then asks him to pick up some snow, which he initially refuses to do because his hands would be too cold. So he turns his camera off, walks into the shed to grab some gloves, then comes back in front of the camera and exhales 1.5 breaths, which now mysteriously do show vapor appearing in front of his face, only to abruptly stop again. He says to the camera, "There's a little breath. What's up now?" As if somehow proving the skeptics wrong, and claiming that he took a sip of water in the shed, which was supposed to account for it. Another camera, recording from a different angle, however, caught Whitsitt while exiting the shed, doing what appears to be hitting a vape pen, just before turning his camera back on. For comparative purposes, here is what someone's breath looks like during winter in Maine, USA. Every time you exhale, there is a visibly noticeable cloudy fog that condenses from the difference in temperature between the hot air in your lungs and the cold air outside. So after exhaling his vape hit into the camera, rather than picking up some of the snow that was all around him, for some reason, Austin walks several feet away and picks up a bit of snow from over there, then walks it back to the camera and lets it fall to the ground. If snow is everywhere all around him, why did he have to walk way over there to get some? Anytime close-up footage of their feet was shown, their footprints always failed to make any impression in the snow. Here, he moves his left foot, and there is no impression, footprint, or displaced snow. Another thing apparent, while watching the footage, was the complete lack of wind or any precipitation whatsoever. Throughout the live stream footage, I don't recall a single instance of any wind or even a light breeze strong enough to affect their hair or microphones. Even on a calm, sunny day, if they were really outside and not in the studio, we should see or hear the effect of wind on their bodies or microphones, but it was mysteriously absent the entire time. Jaron, Whitsitt, and others involved also made comments several times about how the mountains in the distance seemed so close that you could touch them, but that they were actually several miles away. The mountains do seem strangely closer than they should appear, and if you pay attention to where the background and foreground meet in footage from the final experiment, particularly the 24-hour sun time-lapse, it seems we are seeing where the digital backdrop ends and the studio floor begins. There is a separation line indicative of a film set apparent in much of the footage and made clear through the use of video editing technology. By adjusting the contrast, it becomes clear where studio reality meets digital fakery. In the 24-hour time-lapse sun footage, the mountains and sky are both chroma keyed out, showing they are both part of the studio backdrop. Compare this to other footage taken at Union Glacier. When chroma key is applied, only the sky disappears, leaving the real mountains untouched. This makes the case that the final experiment is potentially a mixture of doctored studio footage to fake the 24-hour sun and other authentic footage actually taken from Union Glacier, Antarctica. The founder of this final experiment, Pastor Will Duffy, has also had a recent clip surface from a sermon of his that gives some real insight into the mind of the man behind this production.
Okay, we finally get to my conclusion on the matter of lying and deception, and that is this. After carefully looking at both sides of the debate, and after taking a very deep dive into everything I could possibly find in Scripture regarding lying and deception, I have come to the conclusion that neither lying nor deception are inherently immoral.
I could have made a better job of editing that, couldn't I?
He's never sounded better.
Could you understand it? Was it understandable? It was to me, but I have a lot of practice at XT.
It sounds like a lot. His voice literally at that speed sounds like those AI voices that they'll use over like videos, like YouTube Shorts and shit.
Right.
I don't know if you ever ran across those.
But anyway, all of the shit arguments were there, weren't they? The whole lot.
It would literally cost millions of dollars to have done that in a studio, but they managed somehow to overlook footprints in the snow.
Right. Just nuts, isn't it?
I love how he's suddenly a meteorologist.
Right.
They're CGI'd in, aren't they? So you know the floor is a big LCD screen, and there's
right.
They're in a Truman-esque realm, and they've just got them in fancy gear and just moved them around an air-conditioned room, and they were gullible.
Yeah, we can add packed snow and dry air to two things flat earthers don't understand. Two more things.
Well, that looked like snow that had like frozen though.
Right.
Isn't what's happening? Isn't this the very final experiment? The fact that someone's just gone down there and looked at something, and they've lost their fucking minds like this. This is the final experiment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like when I used to
that's
work,
what
like
I think. This is their reaction is the real result, isn't it, of the experiment? seeing how loony they are.
When I used to work
I'd said
when I
I'd
used to work
mentioned
at
a
that
couple of times before they ever went that I thought that that was the whole point to it, was to see the reactions of the flat earthers rather than the actual observation itself.
when I used to work in that packing facility, they had that big ass freezer, and you'd get that kind of like snow that would build up on the bottom. It was like little ice crystals. But then that the truck would come through and it smushed that ice down packed into a similar pattern, and you could stand right on there without it getting smushed because it was just solid fucking ice at that point.
Right.
Yeah,
But
it was
still had those
compacted
grooves
for the
all through it.
marathon.
Well, I know, like it was all grooved in, like it was like compact, like little particulates that would like flake off from all the shit. But it'd be really compact into like those little grooves, like just shown like on there, and you can step right on it without ever fucking smushing it down.
Easily, yeah.
Okay, so far we know at least 2 flatties have stolen Walter Bislin's model and claimed it as their own. Now we have a third. Jake the Asshole, formerly Flat Earth Asshole, is the man. Yeah, here is his pack of incoherent lies.
You have never seen the Earth as a ball with your own 2 eyes, and you never will. The only people who claim that they've seen the Earth as a ball with their own 2 eyes, those people work for the government. And the government has been proven to lie about space travel, so I don't trust the government when they talk about what's going on in fake outer space. So, when I look for an alternative model to the globe, I come across this controlled rollout of the flat Earth model. Now, I do believe there is some truth in the rollout of the flat Earth model, but there is also a lot of disinformation associated with this particular model. So as you can see in this model with an AE map, an azimuthal equidistant flat Earth map with one singular circling sun, this model right here is easily debunked and has been debunked. But that doesn't mean that the Earth is a globe. So, in my quest to find out what this realm really is, I have done a lot of searching into different models to see what works and what doesn't. And I think I can improve this broken model. I can't make it perfect, but I can improve this broken model. So in this video, I'm going to take a debunked, broken down model, and I'm going to fix it and make it 100 times better than it was before. Are you ready? Let's begin. First things first. The sun does rise and it does set. This is not an argument of perspective. The sun is not just coming at you and going away from you while going around in a circle above Earth. No, we see it, we experience it setting into the horizon. And the next day, we experience the sun rising and or being created at the horizon. So another way to explain the sun rising is that it is being created at the horizon. It is being materialized at the horizon. And when it sets, it is returning to the horizon. It is dematerializing at the horizon. That is what we see it do. This flat Earth model with a rising and setting sun is based upon the notion that each individual observer will see their own local sunrise and local sunset. In this flat Earth model, we are definitely not looking at stars millions of light years away in an infinite space vacuum. No. And we are not looking at stars tens of thousands of miles away inside of a firmament over the Earth. That's wrong as well. Instead, imagine, if you will, a virtual dome. And in this virtual dome, you are the center of your own universe. And this virtual dome goes with you wherever you go. And this is where you experience and see your stars, your sun, and your moon is inside your virtual dome, or your circle of sight. One of the main reasons why the original flat Earth model, with its one singular circling sun, fails so miserably and is proven wrong so easily is because it uses a mean sun, and or virtual sun, as in a not real sun. So the fact that it uses a virtual sun, it's not going to get the correct sunrise angles or sunset angles. So that is why this circling sun over an AE map is proven wrong, is because it doesn't get the proper sunrise and sunset angles correct. If you want to get the proper sunrise and sunset angles correct, you have to use a website like SunCalc, which will show you exactly where the sun is going to rise and where it's going to set. It uses official observable data. If you use official observable data and then you transfer it to an AE map, you end up with a much more correct version of the flat Earth map. Now here's the trippy part. When you model up several different observers over the flat Earth using official observed data, then it's as if each observer sees their own sun. That's how I came to the conclusion that each observer sees their own sun. So in this flat Earth model, we reject a singular circling sun because that represents a mean sun, a virtual sun, a not real sun. Instead, we use the official observable data, the official sunrise and sunset angles to the sun provided to us by SunCalc, and we drag the cursor locally to whatever position we want to check where the sun is going to rise and set. You then convert that data over to the azimuthal equidistant flat Earth map, and now you have locally the correct sunrise and sunset angles. You have proper working sun mechanics that you can verify with your own observations.
And so, if we just make our own theoretical model and we take this information and then stick it over the top of the AE map, we'll actually have a much better model. Even though it won't be 100% correct, it'll still be better than an AE map with a single circling sun. So right here, we can say that we can expect a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, and the Earth is flat, and we all see our own sun. And then Will Duffy can shove this up his ass. He won't be able to say, no, you're not allowed to use that. Who's he to tell us we can't use this?
That's right. You heard that correctly. This flat Earth model does call for a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. And in this flat Earth model, each observer sees their own sun, so it's not a problem at all. That's right. Earth is still not a globe. That man is still standing on a flat level Earth. So therefore, Will Duffy's supposed final experiment is now null and void, because there is indeed a model which calls for a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. This also means that Jeranism is wrong, because he has been repeating over and over and over recently that there is not a single flat Earth model that can explain a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Well, guess what, Jaren? Now there is. So you and Will Duffy need to have a little talk about your supposed final experiment, because guess what? Now it's not just two choices. I have just entered a third choice into the equation.
Isn't it funny how they're all claiming responsibility for this? Because it's essentially Bislin's thing again, isn't it?
Oh my God. I would like to express my sympathies to anyone who happens to have the same first name as him.
Yes. Yes, it must be horrible for people called Jake.
I mean, SunCalc is a suite of software which manifests itself at a website, which is entirely globey in every aspect. But I probably didn't need to say that, did I? Really?
Yeah.
But now we're just back to personal atmospheric dome. It's the same thing,
right?
But this is the thing. If you're going to say, as he clearly said, each person sees their own sun, right? Well, that's fine. But then why not each person sees their own little bit of flatness?
Right. That's what gets me. I think if they're going to say that, I'll just say, oh, well, in my personal atmospheric dome, the Earth's a globe.
Yeah.
Now what are you going to do?
And in my little perceptive world, zebras don't exist. So fuck you, zoologists.
Yeah.
If I see my own sun, will it get colder if I close my eyes?
If I see my own son, I usually ask him if he's cleaned his bedroom up yet.
To be a little bit technical, if you also the camera, the eye photo, everything with not an eye sees the sun the same.
Yes.
The amazing part about this to me is they were just talking about logical fallacies, and this is the biggest logical fallacy there is. The Earth is flat. I see the sun, therefore I must see the sun on the flat Earth.
Right.
No, but he's literally said what we do is we take all the calculations and all those observations and the perception of the hemisphere of the sky we see at night from my personal position, as calculated by all the mathematics and all the software that presumes it's globe to get the projection, and we just mush it on top of the AE. Job fucking done.
Yeah.
I mean,
now the Earth's flat.
Yeah, your
Forgot
horizontal
on the
coordinate
fact that we would
system.
also
Hang on.
we would also be seeing our own-
Hang on. Let Al get in here. Go ahead, Al.
I was just saying, the horizontal coordinate system, like your own personal dome, like you said, is parallel to the overall shape of the Earth. So if it's parallel, it's only one way, right? So up and down is objective. It's a cosmological order.
Yeah, I don't know what that meant.
I mean, longitude lines aren't parallel, are they, on the AE map or on any flat Earth map? They can't be parallel.
The longitude lines are the ones radiating from the center, and these actually preserve the distance and the azimuth. So what you're looking at, what you're seeing.
So you got a load of lines radiating from one point, but somehow, as you pointed out, they're parallel.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, let's not make this a debate.
Circles of latitude are parallel.
Yeah, let's not make this a debate.
Not the longitude.
Let's
that's
not
what we
make.
see in the sky.
Please stop.
All right.
Let's not make this a debate. That's not what we're here to do.
Okay. Okay.
Everyone.
We're here to make fun of flat earthers, just so you're aware.
Everyone is trying to come up with a new flat Earth model these days, and some are more sophisticated than others. Here is Dan Pratt's effort.
Look at that. When I take a flashlight, clearly moving left to right behind a glass of water. In the glass of water, it starts moving right to left. But because the sun moves right to left in Antarctica, it has to be a globe, Jaren? There's no possible way it could be an optical illusion? Huh. Sure about that, big guy? Or maybe you're just tired of scraping by on those flat earth shekels, so you decided to go back to the globe.
He is a creepy fucker these days, isn't he, Dan Pratt?
Flat Earth shekels is quite the line.
He was always mad, wasn't he? But anyway, that apparently proves it's all possible. All you need is a jam jar with water and a flashlight. Earth's flat.
There you go.
Yeah.
2
But
millennia of
we,
heliocentrism pulled apart by a jam.
Yeah.
should we not be inside the jar? And if you're inside the bar, it's still moving left to right.
No, you misunderstand. The jar should be inside of you.
And I saw,
my
I
bad,
saw,
my bad.
I saw two suns at that throughout most of that video.
Yeah. Don't let a little thing like that worry. In fact, that's probably an advantage. That might come in handy somehow. All
And
right.
the massive distortion we saw, Robert?
Red's Rhetoric recently interviewed Jeren about his TFE experience. Take a look.
I think you start to have doubts around 2018, and your reaction to TFE is kind of solidifying that for me, because while not as memorable as TFE, because that's truly a bucket list item, and congratulations to you for being able to cross that off your list, the evidence that was given to you over the years was just as much of a problem for Flat Earth as TFE was for Flat Earth. Why did you not apply those exact same rebuttals to TFE as you used to apply to these other pieces of evidence for the globe?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I understand what you're saying, but you need that confirmation. And I guess as I went on, I knew that if it was ever going to be something that I was able to say, okay, it is a sphere, or if it seems to match the sphere model, that it would need to be pretty, pretty concrete. It couldn't be one of these wishy-washy things or something we have to trust other people on. It was just not going to ever work that way. So it had to be, and that's what I was looking for from day one, right? Day one of getting into YouTube was, hey, I need to find evidence of the globe. I can't find evidence of the globe. And so people would bring forth evidence, but I did not think that it was ever solid enough that I could just walk away and I wouldn't have doubts in my mind, right? That I wouldn't be thinking back and thinking, geez, well, could that be faked, or could this be work another way? So I guess it was really, unfortunately took 10 years. Now, I think there was some points in the past that maybe if I would have sat on and really dwelled on the faults, that maybe I would have realized it then. But you're not in that mindset. I don't know how else to explain it. You're in a mindset of it's us against the world, it's us against the globe, it's us against this monstrosity. And so any kind of little chink in your armor isn't catastrophic, because it doesn't change the us versus them mentality. It just, you keep going, shelve it for a little bit, somebody will work on it. And so this one here was different because the AE map, whether flat earthers can reach that conclusion yet or not, is the only flat earth map. That there'll never be another flat earth map. There can't be. There's channels out there, millions, hundreds of them, saying that there's going to be other maps, or there's going to be another map, or it's a false dichotomy to say that it's either. It's like, no, it's not. It's a sphere or it's flat. That's not a false dichotomy. That is a dichotomy. It's one or the other. And so with the AE map, once that's gone, once that's been debunked, disqualified, the flat earth becomes untenable. So I think that this was one that I was able to see with my own eyes. There's no doubt about it. I knew that if I went down there, if they tried to fake it, if they canceled the trip, if anything like that, I would be there to see it. I'd be a part of it. So it was really kind of selfish in a way that I felt that it would be the way that I could know for sure one way or the other. And it could have been the greatest day in the history of flat earth, or it could have been the worst. But it was kind of one of those, all right, I've been here this far, I might as well go down and see this to its conclusion, knowing that one thing would have been seen or the other when I went down there. So I guess it's just different because all these other things that you're talking about are kind of wishy-washy. I don't know, because people are all saying, oh, you went somewhere else. They took you somewhere else. They took you to an island. I said, no, you're not understanding. There is a place on the earth that is called, 79 degrees south, whatever it is, 81 west or east, whatever, but Union Glacier. And there is a requirement of the globe model of what the sun does there. So they couldn't take me anywhere else. If they took me somewhere else, the sun wouldn't do what the sun did. So you can actually confirm things like where you're at, even what time of day it is, from just the sun. So that's really why coming back, I still remember the flight coming back to the States was just one where my head was just going the whole time, trying to see if there was another method. Could they have taken me, really trying to weigh everything. And then I just got to the conclusion, no, that is the place where they say it is. And if I would have gone south, I would have found the South Pole. And that tells me that, the flat earth map that everyone knows and loves, and people want to pretend now that, oh, we weren't AE mappers. Well, you all were, because it's what brought us all here. It's what the app says. It's how you introduce new people to it. It's what all the posters say. It's what all the shirts say. The AE map is the only one that works even surfacely, and it doesn't work once you get to the south. But I think that people just are holding on to that map because, and I'll even admit it, I like that model. I like the model of the Earth that way. It explains seasons better. We're not spinning. It makes more sense. It kind of makes you feel like you're part of God's world. There's a lot to it that are attractive to people. And then, the outskirts, the outer edge of Antarctica is an ice wall, and, just kind of telling you don't go out there because the sun is, runs out of space that it's heating. So it just seemed to fit better. And I think that's why a lot of people are believers in it, is because sometimes you do want to believe in simplicity over a crazy spinning sphere in space.
It seemed like we were taking all the boxes, but what you're saying, or what I think you're saying, is that it didn't matter what boxes were ticked. You wanted there to be a conspiracy, and so that superseded everything else.
Yeah. And I mean, there wasn't anything that you were doing that was going to disprove flat Earth or prove the globe. It was just something that I said I didn't think was happening, or something that I didn't think was real. And then when you show it, okay, yeah, so it's real. So then, that doesn't affect your overall belief, especially when you're thinking of a conspiracy as large as the hiding of the Earth would be. That's inconsequential. And that's another thing, is once you've bought into the idea that they can do something this egregious or this blatant or obvious, hide the shape of the Earth, then it becomes easy to imagine anything they could do. And I think that's the point of it. I mean, really, I think that's why these things are allowed, go on. That's why government lets it continue, is because they like that. They like people to feel like they have the ability to hide the shape of the Earth. If you told me that you think Donald Trump is, or you told me Donald Trump is Elvis, and you told me that, and I'm like, okay, I guess I could see that. So I start believing that. And then you kind of are responsible for me believing that, right? But if 2 weeks later you come back to me and you're like, Jared, remember I told you about Donald Trump being, I looked at the evidence, I'm wrong. I was wrong about that. So at that point, it becomes on me whether or not I continue believing that. I might have believed it because you said it, but then you told me that you no longer believe it. And so I have the ability to get out at that point and say, oh, I guess he's wrong about that. I won't believe that. But for me, that's what my channel needs to be about right now, is I need to get it across to everybody who's ever watched me that I was wrong, that I need to show them why I was wrong, show them why I think they can realize that I'm wrong, and that they themselves have an opportunity to decide whether or not they should make their life about this idea. And so once I'm done doing that in the next coming weeks or whatever, then I'll make a decision about what I'm going to do going forward. But really, it's got to be about at least releasing myself of any kind of karmic attachment that I might have to telling people something that ended up not being correct.
Yeah, I like Jared more and more these days, I have to say.
Well, he's starting to evaluate the frailties of his position past, isn't he? Really.
Right, but where he's still not got to is he's thinking about the evidence and the conclusions, but he's not really thinking about his reasoning process. And I think that is, I've always said that is where the problem lies, But
he made two statements. He said I needed solid evidence, and you are. He's talking about himself. He says you're in a mindset. Well, that's the two facets of where he is, isn't it?
Right. So hopefully, he'll make more progress with that. But that's what I think he really needs to think about is the mindset.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a big. Sorry, go on.
What you guys are missing though is that every 33rd word he paused, and if you took the first letter of each word he paused on, it spelled "help me, they have my family."
I didn't notice that, Brian. I have to admit.
Well played.
I think that the boundary between him and what's happened to him afterwards and everybody else is that he's saying, okay, there's a sun, it's over there, it's where it is, and it's obvious that that's the sun, and it is obvious that is the sun. Whereas what Witz is doing, and he kind of alluded to that earlier on, and what the previous people are doing is they're talking about the sun's apparency. It's an apparent thing now. It's an
Right.
apparent position. Yeah, and Witz says, and Jaren, to his credit, is not having any of that. He says, if that's the direction I see it in, it's coming from over there. I'm not interested in your 180-degree bendy light Walter Bislin bastardizations, or your jam jars, or your fucking upturned salad bowls with a bit of glass, with a bit of plastic in the top you call hyperfluid or whatever you fucking want to call it. He's not having any of that, is he?
No,
but
he's not.
If he'd taken Jaren down there in June with Whitsit, whether it was completely black and a clear sky, he would be saying, there's Octans, there's Chameleon, there's Hydrus, there's all the constellations that's rotating around there, and Whitsit would be talking about the apparency of the stars instead, wouldn't
Right. You're right.
You can't win.
And then on his most recent Friday Live, he reiterated this whole positivity for the shape of the Earth has been laid bare. Immediately followed by, he went to a NASA site, called up NASA imagery, and said, this is all a laughable joke. People, you've been lied to.
Right.
You can still believe the Earth is a sphere and believe that everybody in a position of authority is trying to smash in your windows and steal your guns, or your wife, or your sandwiches. Insert as applicable.
Well, it just seemed like when he said, I'll see what direction the channel's going, right, or what to do, because I'll just be a NASA basher. Yeah, thank you, science.
Maybe he'll do that. Or maybe, like I say, I think it's still early days for him, isn't it? There's more progress to be made, I think. Anyway, more from Jaren now. And last week, after 10 years, he said his final farewell to Globebusters. Enjoy.
So I wanted to start by just saying thank you to everybody who's watched the show for, what's it been, 9 years, maybe 10 years at this point. I just really appreciate it. I mean, you guys are my family. I hate to have to duck out, but I'm going to, and there's multiple reasons for that. But really, I'll just explain simply what I've seen that has kind of made me take a step back and go, okay, I need to look at this whole thing. And that is really the idea of what the South Pole is. And where we were at 79 degrees south with a sun at 15 degrees at its low, 35 at its high. As I started to put that together, I kind of realized, so from where we were, without a compass, without a GPS unit of any type, I could have gotten to the South Pole. It was only 600 miles from us. I could have walked to the lowest part of the sun in the sky and just walked in that direction. And every 69 miles, the star or the sun would rise by 1 degree and lower behind me by 1 degree, which means in about 600 miles, I would be at a place where the sun was at 15 degrees constantly, meaning it just circled my head at the same height, which would be the place where the South Pole is. So in the past, I've always said that there was no South Pole, that there was multiple South Poles, a ceremonial South Pole, where going down to Antarctica, seeing the way the sun works there and comprehending what I was looking at tells me that the South Pole does exist. And so with that bit of information, I tried to wrestle with it to see what could be other explanations for there being a South Pole where the sun goes right to left. And then if we kind of picture traveling to the North Pole, it would be the same thing happening there, but the sun working left to right. It was the AE map to me was disqualified by what I saw. And so I know a lot of people have things to say like, well, what about other maps? Couldn't there be other maps? Couldn't there be? And I think that that's kind of a little bit silly, just in the fact that I think the continents are the way that they are. You can't move the continents around. They're just, I'm sure you can move it a little bit. Maybe Africa's like 100, 200, 500 miles somewhere. I mean, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the layout of the continents has to be generally correct. The layout of the tropics has to be generally correct. We know that the sun travels above the tropics throughout the year. And so if we know all that, then with the AE map being debunked, because the AE map calls for a sun to go around the Earth in the clockwise fashion, then it just got to the point where I said, okay, wait, so what are the other map possibilities? Now, I thought that when I came back that there would be a good group of people that were ready to tackle the problem. And instead, I saw a flat earth, and I'm not saying everybody, I'm saying maybe it's a small group, but I saw a group that had thrown their hands up and said it doesn't matter. Another group that said it was fake. Another group that said I was a shill. And to be honest, I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest with what I saw, honest with what I observed, honest with what I feel. And I don't think there's shame in that. And as much as it's going to suck to have to remove myself from where I was, that's just the honest truth. And if people don't see why, well, what can I do? My options are basically to stay around and to be arguing from a position that I don't really understand the map anymore. I don't understand how we're going to explain things, how we're going to, go up against the globe if I don't even have a map anymore. So I'm happy to leave the show in Alan's hands and in Austin's hands. They obviously still think that there is something here, and I get that, and I understand that, and I'm excited to see what they bring forward. But for me, I would feel like I'm not being honest with people if I don't be honest with people, right? If I don't tell you that I honestly can't see it working anymore, as far as the map, as far as the layout. And one of those things is too, a lot of people accepted this Stephen Alonso's model and Joe Hamby, and that's basically what I was getting. But even if you go talk to them, Joe Hamby doesn't claim to have it perfect, but everybody else does. And that to me was a problem. That to me is not a good map. For instance, I'm just saying that it seems like now that the globe at least explains the sun to me in a way that works, and the flat Earth cannot do that right now, at least to me, in my mind. Now maybe somebody else has figured it out. It just can't. So I know that we can take like Shane's model, and we can show how it would work on a flat Earth, but I feel like that is now making suns appear in places across the world. And that to me is like, okay, so wait, we're saying that the globe is wrong, even though it matches the observations, but the flat Earth is right, even though we have to move the sun to just magical places. And I say magical because there's no mechanism really. People are saying something about dome refraction or something, but I don't know what that is, and I don't know where they came up with it other than Stephen Alonso taking observations and then calling them flat Earth observations. Or I don't know if you guys have heard that all flat Earth models predicted the 24-hour sun. So what I either have to do is lie to people and pretend that that's true, or admit no models called for a 24-hour sun originally. Now, of course, when we go and see it, now everybody says that it was called for. So that's basically the gist of why I'm leaving. The South Pole to me exists. It was 600 miles from me. I could have gotten there without any GPS, without any compass. And to have a South Pole and then to know that there's a North Pole, I don't really know where to go with that, other than that to me, I was wrong about the flat Earth.
That is pretty monumental that he did all that, actually, on Globebusters.
Yeah. Not to peek out of anybody else, though.
No, I mean, the first person to respond, actually, at the end of it was Good Times for All, and he said, "Welcome to the club, Jaron. I've felt this way since 2018. And then started going on about how he'd never, he'd always said he didn't have a model and all of this crap. Basically the thing they all say.
I think what you see there is what I've experienced elsewhere is that most flat earthers, and Whit, it was there, most flat earthers are very, very vocal and very noisy when you're arriving, but when you're leaving, they've got nothing to say to you.
Right. Yeah. They did. I mean,
Speaks
I
volumes,
didn't
really.
listen to much more of it because I didn't have time, but, you know. I thought Good Times for All was just completely dishonest and, you know, the way he responded to it. Anyway, Will Duffy was interviewed by Professor Dave last week. Take a look.
Let's see. So obviously the highlight was just, yeah, there is a 24-hour sun. Everyone has to admit it. What was that like for the flat earthers? How many flat earthers were there? It was 4. Okay, so let's just talk about the reaction of each of the 4 of them to that fact.
Yeah, so when we got there, one of the flat earthers was on a tour of the Union Glacier campsite to know where everything was, where to eat, where to go to the bathroom, all of that. And one of the flat earthers asked this host giving them this tour, when does the sun set? And the ALE guide just says it doesn't, and kept on giving the tour. And so that's the first moment where it started to set in, like, wait a minute, we're really going to see a 24-hour sun.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first day at midnight, we live streamed, sun was still up. And so for multiple days on end, they got to see the sun just circle the sky, never set, never went below the horizon. And you could tell it really rocked their world. And I will say, to give them credit, they did believe they would see a setting sun when we went down there. So the fact that they saw something that really kind of shook their foundations was a good thing.
Obviously, everyone was down there. What was everybody doing? Was everyone doing live streams, or they also were doing different various experiments, or?
Yeah, so we set up, at one time I counted 10 different cameras going. We had 360-degree cameras, because the flat earthers like to say that when there's a video, like if NASA releases a video or someone on the ISS releases a video, they say, oh, they're not showing you the other side because the other side is a set and there's people there. So we used 360-degree video so they could see everything going on around us.
Yeah.
We had them set up at different angles just in case they were to find the stitch line and say that that was some sort of an edit. We also had cameras with solar filters on them to take pictures of the sun, specifically sunspots. That was to show that it's the same sun everybody else is seeing in the rest of the world.
Not a spotlight or anything ridiculous like that, yeah.
Yeah, no sun simulators or anything like that. And we also had cameras that were on equatorial mounts, which only work on a globe, that were tracking the sun through the sky. So there was a lot going on.
Okay, it sounds very empirical. So I guess the big question, do any of the 4 flat earthers no longer identify as flat earthers?
I do believe that 2 of them, at least, are going to admit that they were wrong about the Earth being flat and that we live on a globe, based on conversations I've had with them. But I'm going to let them make that public announcement whenever they feel ready.
Okay. And the 4, it's Austin and Jaron, and then the girl, Lisbeth, I think. And who's the 4th one?
Yeah, so Lisbeth Acosta, and then the 4th one was Jonathan Morandi. Now, interesting part here is he's actually a Hollywood filmmaker, and he's a flat earther. So he went with us in order to film everything, and he'll be actually making a documentary later this year on our trip.
Experience. Okay, that's pretty interesting. What about the Candace Owens producer guy? What was he doing?
Yeah, his name is Mark Herman, and he was there to kind of represent Candace Owens. And I can tell you that as soon as we got to Antarctica, within the first probably hour, we understood where things were. We got the Wi-Fi password for Starlink, which again only works on a globe. And Mark and I actually FaceTimed Candace to let her know, hey, we're here. And we told her a little bit more about the experiment, and she was like, well, let me know what happens. And so we did confirm for her that there is a 24-hour sun, and she does realize that means the globe side has won. And I do believe she will be having a couple of people, one from each side, on her show at some point.
Okay, interesting. Presumably you, I suppose, as the
I think it's actually going to end up being MC Toon and Austin Whitsitt. They were originally going to be on her show prior to us going, making their predictions, but she got really sick and had to cancel it. So I think it'll be those 2, and they're fine.
Fascinating. Okay, so now the real question here is, what is the reaction of the flat Earth community? What are they talking about? How frustrating is it? What's your take on it?
Yeah, the reactions have been nothing short of insane. The amount of conspiracies that already exist, I've lost count. It was a mere hours after we live streamed and showed the midnight sun, still up at midnight from Antarctica, that they were already coming up with green screen conspiracies, and so we found that out while we were out there. So within 10 hours of this green screen conspiracy, we did another live stream and debunked that by me flying my drone behind me. There was no screen behind me, doing multiple live streams around each other at the same time. But the conspiracies have just come fast and furious. Breathgate, footprint gate, drone gate, the list goes on and on. They will do anything other than just taking an honest look at what we did, the evidence, and most importantly, the fact that they had 4 flat earthers, not 1, not 2, not 3, 4 flat earthers with us who are all testifying, hey, this is real. We saw it with our own eyes.
Is there any evolution to their reaction to this?
So they're completely disjointed. In my opinion, they're imploding. So there's no agreement whatsoever. There's just a ton of infighting. I hopped on a panel just the other day. There was 5 flat earthers. They were saying things that were all just completely false. So I hopped on to kind of clear the record. And these 5 flat earthers all disagreed. They don't know what to do. They don't know whether or not there's a 24-hour sun. They don't know whether or not to say we were actually in Antarctica or not. They don't know whether or not to say it was fake and it was done in a studio. So there's no agreement whatsoever. The latest crazy theory is some guy who has 0 training. He's a flat earther. He has 0 training in body language, is claiming that he can read our body language and can tell we didn't actually see a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. And he also claimed that Jaron said something when we were in Antarctica. And so I connected him with Jaron, and Jaron said, I didn't say that. But of course, he's not going to believe Jaron, but he will believe something he thinks he heard in a live stream.
Okay. Yeah, of course. So I guess my last question would be, does any of this surprise you? Did you expect this from flat earthers or not?
I am disappointed and I am surprised. Now, people around me like you and others who have been in this space much longer are not surprised, and I can see why. You've heard these types of arguments and excuses and wild, crazy conspiracies for years, so you saw it coming. I didn't, but I will say we tried to think of as much as possible that they would come up with ahead of time.
Yeah.
And so we collected nearly 100 terabytes of data. We have released a mere fraction of that, and all of the things that they're saying are easily debunked and will be debunked. And in my opinion, they're just digging their own grave. So the most important thing is we are releasing all of the information on all of the experiments that we did on our channel on YouTube, The Final Experiment. There's a playlist called The Final Experiments, plural. That's going to be the most important thing that we are giving back to the world from this entire endeavor. And so the purpose of that is we do not believe that Flat Earth has an answer to any of these. There's going to be 15 videos. They all confirm the globe. And so if you know somebody, a friend or family member who's Flat Earth, share these videos with them. They're very convincing. And if you meet someone who's considering Flat Earth, share these videos with them because they are that powerful and I think will prevent people from believing this myth in the future.
Well, let's hope so. Interesting, though, isn't it? I thought what he was saying. He said there's two of the flat earthers that he thinks are going to convert. One of them is obviously Jaron. One of them obviously is not Whitsitt, which leaves Lisbeth and the guy making the documentary. So, which of those would you go for as the convertee?
I think I got to go with the videographer because, as was said, he works in Hollywood. If he departs from journalism and puts out something that at all smacks of, some super crop cherry picked, then he's going to wreck his own career. I think he has to take a somewhat journalistic approach and be kind of neutral in what he presents.
We'll see. Interesting,
I mean,
but I'm thinking it might be him, which would make, you know, everything that Whitsitt said at the start of the show, where he's looking forward to this Flat Earth documentary that's going to make them look good somehow. You know, but then again, as he said, they've got final say on it, so I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
At the risk of sounding chauvinistic and old, if Lisbeth converted, would anybody notice?
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. Yeah.
And the day they got back to Port Arenas, or Punta Arenas, Jonathan and McKeegan and Mattoon were all in the same hotel room giving a live. So Jonathan wasn't like shunning. It's like, oh my God, I can't go in a room with Globers.
Right. Well, we'll have to wait and see. It'll be interesting to see how that part of it pans out. Okay, Flat Earth pastor Dean Odell, or is it Odell? It's spelt Odell, but people tend to say Odell. He went for a more spiritual refutation of the final experiment, but before that, a not so distant memory of the shameless bullshitter in action.
All we'd have to prove is go to Antarctica. Let me and you go to Antarctica, spend a week there in the summer, and let's see if the sun does a 360-degree circle all the way around us. If so, it's a ball. But if the sun comes in this way and then leaves that way, then it's not. It is what we say it is.
So then why can't we go and just see it for ourselves?
Well, let's just see if they'll let us.
Oh, they will let us. I've already checked into it.
Right.
They'll absolutely let us.
Let's go.
They will absolutely let us.
This is going to be my response to the so-called final experiment. Oh, what a joke. I don't understand how you can be in this thing, see what we have discovered in everything from formerly classified government documents to NASA technical manuals, all that I brought out, all the stuff that's been brought out about Antarctica, and I'm going to share some of that. How in the world are there any people in the alleged, again, biblical cosmology, whatever you want to call it? I say biblical cosmology because it's biblical. I don't panic when people get out there and get crazy. I don't panic because somebody saw a light in the sky. See, this is what I've been saying, and I'm going to say this again, and I hope you get it down in you. And I don't care what subject it's about. But you better believe the Word of God above anything that goes on in the world. You understand? Because there's liars and deceivers everywhere, deceiving and being deceived themselves. And I'm going to show you something. Have we forgotten that there's a fallen angel, an entity that goes by the name Lucifer, Satan, Halel, the dragon, that old serpent, also called the prince and the power of the air, also called an angel of light that would deceive mankind and appear to be light? Have we forgotten the deceptive miracles in the sky like Fatima? They call it the miracle of the sun. Y'all think the devil can't put some lights in the sky? What do y'all think all this UFO activity is? That's been going on for decades and decades now. It really kicked in big in 1947. What do you think that is? Oh, no. Is it just advanced military aircraft? No. Stuff that can make right angle turns at 3,000 miles an hour? No, that's not physical. That's spiritual. Okay? So let me just say this at the outset here about the so-called final experiment and them allegedly seeing the sun move in a circle around them in Antarctica. Let me just go and tell you right now. You don't think Satan could pull that off? Oh, yeah. And let me tell you something else. You know, one thing I found interesting, that area they went to, Union Glacier, it's almost always overcast. You know, Antarctica's the place of the winds, high winds, right? And Duffy guaranteed that there would be good, clear, sunny weather that day. Now, hold on a second. Who can manipulate the weather? There's two that we know can manipulate the weather. We know this from the book of Job. Satan can manipulate the weather, and we know the United States government can, right? Why is everybody up in arms? See, one reason I've sat back and just watched all the hoopla about all this, because I'm like, I don't care if you see 15 suns in the sky and they do whirlabouts. God's word is true from Genesis to Revelation. Amen? And we were warned that there were going to be false signs, satanic signs and wonders. Guess what? In the heavens. So here's what I say. I'm not going to even debate the shadows going in different directions, like McToon wants to debate all this stuff. I mean, he believes in evolution, so he's a monkey man. All right? I'm not even going to debate camera angles and no footprints in the snow where they were walking and all these weird anomalies. I'm not even going to, I'm just going to say they went and they saw a light go around them in a circle that they thought was the sun, or that they knew because they're Satanists, some of them, that Satan would be there to help them. Because listen, folks, Satan has a lot invested in this deception. He has spent hundreds of years crafting this deception about changing the nature of creation so that people won't believe the Bible. He built NASA to help you out with this one. Think about that. And made sure that NASA gets $60 million a day to continue to push the lies. Satan has a lot invested in this. The sun did not go in a circle around them. The angel of light did. It's as simple as that. I don't have to get into shadows and footprints and drone footage and all that's a waste of time. This is true. They are liars. And if they're not lying on purpose, then they are just being deceived, and while they're in the process of deceiving others. I feel sorry for them, because if they're doing it on purpose, you're causing people to stumble, keeping people from believing the Bible. You're going to be in a big trouble. There is no wisdom, nor understanding, nor counsel against the Lord. If the Lord says the sun moves in a circuit and you say it doesn't, you are the fool. You hear me? If God said he set the world upon pillars and you say it's spinning and tilted and wobbling and flying, you're the fool, and I'm going to promise you on Judgment Day, you are going to be judged a fool.
Unbelievable, isn't it? What a shameless fucking liar.
Wow.
It's
I can't believe that Satan came up from hell, manifested into a big ball of light in the sky, and God did nothing about it.
well, this is modern church Christianity, right wing, anti everything, anti basically anything to do with the modern world, Christian, local chapel, pastorship nowadays. 98% of what he said there has got nothing to do nor nothing to do with the content of that book in front of him.
Right.
He espouses political, ideological notions about the world, the realm of the world, who should be in charge, who's the evil, who's the best, who's telling the truth. Nothing. That book in front of him is redundant. It might as well be a fucking Chinese menu restaurant.
Right.
And
this is where we are now.
But
Isn't
like
another-
you saw the clip at the beginning where he was in the debate with what's his name, Greg Locke, and he comes up with this Antarctica. This is how we could know for sure. And then in this one, I don't care if there's 10 suns doing whirly gigs or something, some weird word he used.
Isn't he another one who? I'm sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, just just a total contradiction of himself, and abandoning. I mean, he's written a book where he presents his evidence for a flat Earth. He's gone out and done some long distance photography and lied about the results, but he's presented evidence, and then when he gets some alternative evidence, it's nothing to do with the evidence. It's just Bible magic,
Actually, added to that, when he says that only Satan and the U.S. government can manipulate the weather, there's no less than at least 3 parts in the Bible where God not only manipulates weather, but he actually either extinguishes, pauses, or reverses the course of the sun.
Right.
So I don't know where he got the idea that only Satan could do it.
And also, that's a total lie because Duffy did not guarantee that the weather would be nice that day. He never said that. I don't know where he's got that from. Well, I do. He made it up. Sorry, Pazza, go ahead.
No, but Jimmy, you must understand. Yeah, he's got half a dozen wooden pallets, and he's put one on the wall behind him. Yeah.
Right.
He's got a check shirt on. Yeah. He's got an authentic regional accent. Everything he says is true.
Yeah.
There's no point evaluating what he's saying other than that. You can tell from the very ethereal nature of the wood grain behind him, and the book opened up like he's read it all. Yeah, he's clearly a man of knowledge, and his community will take any political position, any ideological position, any position on science, any position on mechanics, or whatever he wants to tell them that weekend. They'll just basically lap the fucker up.
Yeah, I guess so. It'd be interesting to talk to people from that church and see what their position is.
Would it really?
Well, yeah, because I'm imagining they must all be flat earthers, or are they?
Wouldn't it be akin to interviewing a parking meter?
I don't know.
For some reason, Dean Odell turned down the invitation to go there for free. I wonder why.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
I'm
All right.
I'm just so tired of religious people telling me how the world works.
Oh no.
I hate to try to follow Pazza with that because that's classic. But is it going to make any of you pause next time you try to present a flat earther with evidence or data or reason?
Well, some of it is about exposing their stupidity, and sometimes that requires that you do that. But mostly, I'm
exposing his. Yeah.
Mostly, I'm just rude to them fairly quickly.
Yeah. No, what you just showed right there exposed their stupidity. You didn't need to say a word.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa.
I can imagine what his congregation are like. That they might as well be knitting because they're pearl one stitch one the way through everything he says, aren't they?
Yeah.
Just moving. There's a couple of things moving in their head, but not very much.
Yeah.
We know that, don't we? They'll put too much money in the plate at the end, and they go home and they think they're going somewhere nice after this shithole they live in.
Right.
And that's all that matters. And whatever he says in the interim doesn't matter a blind fucking deal. But the key is that this man will influence how people decide their leaders in the future, and who's evil and who's a bit strange, who's a bit weird, who smells funny or got funny smelling food, or who wears makeup when they should wear makeup, and all the fucking bollocks that goes on in the world. It's nauseating, frankly.
All true.
By the way, Jim, I do know where the guarantee of sunshine came from.
Oh, where did that come
And
from?
It was Will Duffy said that he got it on good authority that it's supposed to be clear weather. Now, he got that from NC Toon, who got that while he was in your server, getting it from Larry, who said, one of our guys already looked up the dates you're going, and it looks like clear sunshine for 4 days. Your server is actually the generation of
Oh,
the,
well, I
of
didn't know
miraculous sunshine.
that.
So if we follow the trail back, you are Satan, Jim.
Yeah.
But we knew that already. Jeez.
All right, wannabe flat earth saviour Joe Hanvey had a heated encounter with Will Duffy last week. It seems Joe hasn't been entirely honest with us. Enjoy.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing well.
Awesome. Thanks for being here. The main reason we are having this conversation is because I told Joe that I did not think he was being honest about a couple of things.
No, you called me a liar.
Yes, I did.
You don't think lying and deceiving is wrong, so it's kind of funny.
What makes you say that?
Your sermons.
And did you listen to them, or did you only hear like a small clip?
Your summary is enough to know, bud.
Okay, so this is important. You think it's always wrong, no matter what, to lie?
Yes.
Okay, great. So that's not my position. And you did misrepresent me. I've never said it's perfectly fine to lie or it's good to lie. I have taken.
I didn't say that. I said that you don't think it's wrong to lie, which you just admitted.
That's all. That's also incorrect. So for anybody that wants to actually go listen to what I said, my position is that it's almost always wrong to lie and to deceive, but there are rare exceptions where it's okay and morally permissible. So that is my position. And I think it would be difficult for you or anyone else to actually take the position that when you are trying to save someone's life, that it would be wrong to lie to the person that is trying to kill them. And I guess that's your position?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into crazy claims that you like to do these weird, like before when you're talking about what do you think about the Titanic, you like to divert, you like to play word games, you like to do all this weird stuff and create these weird scenarios that try to manipulate the situation to make things fit your narrative. And I'm just not going to play that game. Why don't we do this? Why don't you prove your claim that I intentionally lied about when I figured out that it did work?
And lightly, but I've made the claim that I think Joe Hanvey has lied about two things. The first one is when he became a flat earther. And the second one is what convinced him to change his mind on the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. So do you want to give your take so that everybody knows your position, and then I'll explain to the audience why I think you're not being honest?
Okay, so this new claim, that's new to me. You've never said that to me. That first claim, you've never said that to me. So
I thought I mentioned it.
Dishonest right there.
I thought I mentioned it with Vika, but
yeah,
if
you
I
thought
didn't,
you did. See, you're being dishonest. This is what you do.
Okay, so Joe, I'm telling you right now, I think that you have lied about when you first became a flat earther. So do you want to tell everybody what you've already told me and others as to when you became a flat earther?
Yeah. I've already said it many times. I'm here for you to prove your claim. That's a new claim you're adding in. So I'm cool with that because I'm not afraid, man. I haven't lied.
Okay, so could you tell everybody when you're claiming you became a flat earther?
Roughly sometime between, I think, 2009 and 2012, somewhere in that time frame. I don't remember exactly. However, I've always said that I was in the closet for many years. So.
Okay.
And about 5 years ago is when I really started letting everybody know what I was doing, not what I was doing, that I was a flat earther, not publicly like online or anything, but all my close friends and family, I really started talking about it a lot more and how important it was and that we had been deceived on a level we can't even imagine. And then roughly 3 years ago, I started the modeling process. But 5 years ago, I started studying and doing actual research out in the field to learn and observe our Earth system so that I could try to model it. I've said that consistently. So go ahead,
Okay.
try to prove me wrong.
Okay, cool. So I know this doesn't matter to you, but for what it's worth, if what you're saying is true, that makes you the first modern day flat earther in the world.
No, it doesn't. That's such a false statement, dude. There's tons of books on flat Earth. Like, just go look.
So modern day, what I'm talking about is alive today. There is no one today alive on this planet that claims to be a flat earther that far back. So you would literally be the first.
You're making false claims.
Okay, who do you know that was a flat earther?
I'm not going to get into this with you. You're going to prove what you said you're going to prove.
Okay.
Or we're done.
I received an email in September. So this is months ago. I get hundreds of emails, if not thousands. And this email was from someone who claims they know you. So when I got this email, I had to think it through and I had to say, is this person telling the truth? Are they not? I didn't know what to do with it. And so I literally didn't tell anybody. I didn't share it. I just kind of kept it in the back of my mind. Like, I don't know if this is true or not. And hearing you and being involved with you more and more, it started to become clear to me that I think this email was true. I have known Joe since we were kids. I was good friends with his older brother, who is not a flat earther growing up. We know each other's families and have always had the same groups of friends for quite some time. Here's the important part. He smoked a lot of weed and still does to this day. But to make a longer story short, getting to the point of now, Joe did not become a flat earther until sometime in early 2021. He tried to tell everyone.
Hold on. Let me say this. You got to tell me who this is, because otherwise it can't be falsified. I have to know who it is.
I would need his permission to share this with you.
See, then this is inadmissible.
Hold on.
It's inadmissible. You can't use it because you're not gonna tell me who my accuser is. You can't use it. Whoever this is lying.
Okay, so Joe,
They've already lied. I know they have.
Here's all I'm trying to say.
No, see, you are trying to poison the well and defame me with false information, Will. That's false. This email is false. My brother, he doesn't care about flat Earth, but he absolutely knows the Earth is flat. So this person is lying. Yes, I used to smoke weed. I lived a very wicked life before I came to Jesus Christ. A very wicked life. What do you want me to tell you about my past? I'll tell you any of it because I'm unashamed.
Well, no,
I've been changed by Jesus Christ. That 2021 is a freaking lie. The whole me smoking pot all the time is a lie. Now, back in the day, yeah, absolutely. Not anymore.
How long ago was that?
How long ago was what?
That you gave that up?
It doesn't matter.
Was it years ago? Was it weeks ago?
You won't tell me who sent you this email. So it could be a complete fabrication and a lie. I guarantee you it's not anybody close to me. I guarantee it. If they grew up with me, they're pretending to know me today. They do not. You won't share whose name it is because that's your tactics. This wouldn't hold up in court, and you know it. So let's move on.
I think they're a little bit closer to you than you realize. And they sent me your recent birthday cake. And
that's not recent.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 44.
Okay. So anyway, they sent this to me.
My family had that made for me because I am a huge advocate for medical cannabis, bud.
Okay.
So you're taking things out of context. You're trying to use something that is not bad to defame my character. It's weird, Will. Get off of it. Move on. You're trying to build a case with false information that wouldn't hold up in court. I've admitted that I am for medical cannabis. Do I smoke weed every single day of my life? Is it a big part of my life? No. Do I suffer from ankylosing spondylitis, an autoimmune disease. Do I, on occasion, use medical marijuana for pain relief? Yes. I'm not going to make any excuse for that. I advocate for medical marijuana extremely heavily and have for many, 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 many years. So let's get off of that. Let's get to what you're here to do and prove me as a liar about when I decided that it worked, that the 24-hour sun could work in the biblical cosmological model. That was your claim.
Okay.
You're trying to divert and defame my character, and you're doing so with very, very poor evidence.
Okay, I will move on, but I will just tell you that I actually support the use of medical marijuana as well. And despite the fact that I support it, no one would ever give me a cake like this, just for what it's worth.
Exposed.
That's fine.
Yes, I know. I've got a grandparent who I'm making this up now, of course, because let's fuck it. The internet makes things up. Who uses medical marijuana to with chronic arthritis? On his 90th birthday, we got him a have a dope birthday granddad cake.
Yeah.
And with icing that screamed "Aye,
I know. Medical marijuana. Come on, dude. Who you
What a
trying to
cunt.
kid?
What a lying cunt.
I missed a super chat from earlier. Work through says some love for the main lad. Thank you very much, work through. Sorry, I forgot that. Anyway, that's that.
I love how he kept treating it like a court. It's inadmissible. It's like,
Right, yeah.
Or judge you too many times.
Yeah, he does a bit more of that later.
I love the way he said, "Oh, we've been deceived in a way we can't even imagine." What does that mean? I can imagine a load of ways you've been deceived.
Yeah.
Did you guys actually read the email when it was there on the screen for a little bit?
I
trying.
did. I did in the edit. Yeah, I can't remember.
It says I like the part where it said that he claims that he knew algebra and calculus, but he never got past pre-algebra in high school. He was all about the weed. Did you see that part?
Yeah, it did say that. Yeah.
He always gets interviewed with the same backdrop. He's got 9 cameras on tripods, all pointing towards an upturned salad bowl with a bit of metal. It looks like he's trying to live stream an old lady getting her blue rinse dried. I mean, he's not a scientific luminary, is he? Let's be honest. He's got the Gleason map.
He thinks he is,
the
though.
map on the wall, slightly behind one camera. I mean, where's your aesthetic,
He
man?
thinks he is. In the next clip, you'll hear him refer to his body of work, and I mean, he is completely bonkers.
I think on one of those tripods, at least one of those tripods, he has an EQ mount.
Yeah. I think he does, but I think he's made comment on that he says it doesn't prove anything and it would work on a flat earth and all of this.
But does he admit, Jim, other than the fact that he knew in his brain that the earth was flat in 2009 or whatever, does he admit that until like the 2020s, there is no evidence, written video, nothing of him ever commenting about
But
flat
he
earth
didn't
prior to
quite
that?
say that, but he did say it was in the closet for many years, and it was only about 5 years ago or something like that. But that makes absolute sense that he got into it when a lot of people did in the pandemic, or after the pandemic, around about that time. He probably ended up having to spend a lot of time in front of his computer because he couldn't work for whatever reason, and. Yeah, and he went the way a lot of people went.
What is a EQ mount?
Equatorial mount.
It can follow a star across the path across the sky based upon the place that you have set it up and how you have mounted it.
I see.
There's a better description.
It'll track any celestial object on a single axis.
It makes your camera move with the Earth axis, basically.
And you have to line it up with the Earth's axis, and it runs at 15 degrees per hour.
No way. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Okay, more from Joe Hanby and Will now, and things get even more heated.
So, but I started changing my mind when I started really thinking about it. I started thinking, well, truth fears no investigation. The earth is level, so there's got to be a way that it works. And then I talked to my friend in New Zealand, and he showed me how the sun rises and sets physically to him during the winter solstice. And we were going through an app, and I was like, wow, maybe the 24-hour sun actually does work. I've been modeling the system. Let me try to model it. So there's a difference in starting to change my mind that it probably didn't happen to, well, it can happen, and then deciding, oh, it actually does happen. See, there's a difference here. And I went through stages, and I've been clear about that. I've gone through stages the whole time. That's how growth happens. You go through stages. So when I physically decided, oh, it does happen, was after I had done it in the model. And I said, yeah, I had a friend in Antarctica, and she said that the sun set. She was outside the Antarctic Circle, though. And as a matter of fact, she did tell me that I think she said it set at like 11 something p.m. and rose at like 2 something a.m. And I did think, I was like, wow, that's in the sky for a long time, but I didn't think much about that.
Okay. By the way, for what it's worth, the Antarctic Circle can only exist on a globe.
You keep saying stuff like that. You don't even have a model.
I do. The Antarctic
No,
Circle is
No,
created
a
by
model must be able to demonstrate things in the micro just like it does in the macro. You cannot get water to stick to a ball. You can't get gas pressure to stick around a ball. You can't get any of that to happen. You can't do gravity on a micro scale. So you don't have a model, Will. No, you don't. No
Okay,
globe. Globe does not have a model.
you just
you have concepts and theories.
You just strawmanned the word model. So I'm going to go ahead and push back on you. Do car models exist?
Yes, car models exist.
Do they have internal combustion engines in them?
Many of them do, yes.
Do all of them?
No.
Okay, are they still models?
Yes.
Okay, so what you said is false.
No, it's
a
not.
model does not have to be an exact representation of what it's representing.
It has to physically demonstrate a phenomenon, right?
No.
You cannot get water to stick to a spinning ball. You can't get gas pressure on a spinning ball next to a near perfect vacuum. You have no medium, no container, no charge for light. Fundamentally, from the start, the concept and theory of a flat earth or a biblical cosmological earth is better from the start. You don't even have a container. We do.
So I have a toy car model. What does that have to have?
We're not going to do this. We're going to get you to prove. We're not here to debate this anymore, Will. I'm not debating this with you. Nobody's going to change your mind. You wanted to be the savior of the globe. You admitted it. You're upset that somebody actually demonstrated that the phenomena is possible within a flat earth model, and you're trying to do damage control. You're trying to defame character. So prove that I lied, and we're going to move on. That's it. I'm not going to go back and forth with you in this word game that you like to try to do. You're going to prove that I lied. Prove it right now, or we're done.
Okay, that's fine. Just so you know, if you're going to bring up a different topic, you brought up saying the globe doesn't have a model, and I pushed back because that's false. You brought up the Antarctic Circle. I showed that's only possible on a globe.
You didn't show anything. You said. So let's stop with it. I'm done. I'm not going to bring up other topics. You're going to prove what you said you're going to prove, or we're done.
So here's where I'm struggling, Joe.
Yeah,
there are millions and millions of people who believe in the globe. And when I announced
that's an appeal to authority. That's a fallacy. It makes your argument wrong.
I haven't made my argument yet, so you can't say
there's
that.
Millions and millions of people who believe in a globe. That's an appeal to authority.
That's not an appeal to authority. That's a fact.
It's an appeal to authority in a debate, and we're not really in a debate. We're here for you to prove that I lied. I want you to prove that I lied and stop diverting.
It cannot be an appeal to authority unless I state that the fact that there's millions of people believe in a globe proves something, which I'm not going to say because you interrupted me. Millions of people believe in the globe. When I announced the final experiment, not a single person that believes in the globe was working on models to try to figure out how the sun might set in Antarctica. Okay. So what I'm saying is that I find it extremely difficult to believe, and I'd be curious what everyone else thinks, that you just decided out of the blue to say maybe a 24-hour sun is possible. What caused you to believe that a 24-hour sun in Antarctica would be possible on a flat Earth? What was that moment?
Well, I already knew we live in an enclosed system. I already know the floor is level. I already know the truth is on our side, that truth fears no investigation. I already know that we need a container for everything. I know we're not on a globe. We falsified it. I have personally falsified the Umbro shadow for the lunar eclipse. So I know for a fact that the floor is level. So anything that does occurs over that level surface. But I'm done, Will. I'm done with you. I don't think you're an honest person. I think you are a weasel. I think you are narcissistic to the nth degree. You are a manipulator. You think that you're so much smarter than everybody else, and you're not. Your ego is through the roof, and it's evident. So that's what I'm going to finish with. You claim to be a follower of Christ, and you teach against his word. You are a false teacher and a false prophet, and the Father of lights and his Messiah, Jesus Christ, are going to deal with you, buddy. They're going to deal with you. So that's it.
Joe,
I'm done. I'm out.
Joe,
Like, you can go ahead and debunk the model all you want for your globe zealots. You didn't prove I was a liar. I'm not going to entertain you anymore. As a matter of fact, my mom sent me an email telling me, she's like, don't engage with this guy. I told you not to engage with him anymore. And she did. And I didn't listen. So I'm going to listen to her right now, and I'm done with you. And you can go ahead and debunk my model for all your globe zealots and all these people that ridicule and make fun and call names and all that. Go right ahead. You're a false teacher. You're a false prophet. The Father wants to expose you, and he's doing that. Goodbye, sir.
Hey, Joe, flat earthers have debunked your model, and they've been trying to debunk your model for months, but you won't listen to them. It's not just people on the globe side. Flat earthers were trying to correct your model.
A bunch of internet cowboys and internet gangsters with no work of their own, no body of work of their own, have said things.
Campanella has been trying.
Listen, I sent Jaron a dome. Jaron does not believe in the scriptures. Jaron is now trying to use Occam's razor in order to argue for the globe. Occam's razor destroys the globe. But again, I'm done with you. I don't care what Jaron Campanella thinks. Jaron is not important to me. So I don't care what any of you think.
I care
what Jesus thinks. I care what Jesus' word says. And Jesus' word says that we live on a circular level realm, enclosed, and that he sits above. It's his footstool, that it's like a seal that's been hit with a signet, and all these other different things, that the sky is like a bronze mirror that reflects heat, that it's like a molten looking glass, that it's like a cast metal mirror. What is that? Job 37:18. Those are three different translations of it. You look at the Project 314, where Moses built the tabernacle off of what he saw from heaven. It matches the dome type model, the dome type structure. I don't care what you think anymore, Will. I don't care what all the globe zealots think. Go ahead, debunk the model. Say you debunked it all you want. I'm going to keep doing me as Jesus tells me to do me. But you're going to be exposed. I don't know when it's going to happen, but you're going to be exposed by the Father, because you are falsely representing him and you're falsely representing his word. So we're done here. I'm out. Goodbye.
Thanks, Joe. Are you able to leave, or do I have to do something? But by the way, okay, so that did not go as I had hoped, but it's okay. That's life.
That was fun, wasn't it?
But the thing I'm going to say is if the Bible says the sky covered over you as bronze, then why is he waving lights around outside?
I know. And are any of those things from the New Testament? He said it's Jesus' word, but I don't know if that's true.
They're all taken out of context. They're all taken out of context. I actually want to go back and watch all that, get all the scriptures he's quoted, so I can go find the actual context, because it's like he went and mosh-podged stuff together in order to make that claim, and then blasphemed the Holy Spirit. Oh wow, claiming Christianity.
Question there, Jim.
That's the
answer your
important part.
question there, none of that is from the New Testament. That is all from the Old Testament, and most of it actually comes from books that where we do not have an author, or from the books attributed to Moses, which we know are written by at least 12 different authors.
Right.
With the brass malarkey's Deuteronomy. I mean, at one point he said that when Duffy said millions of people believe in the globe because that's an appeal to authority. Well, personally, I don't. All this appeal business, I can't be fucking bothered to remember all this modern silence. But that's appeal to popularity, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an ad populum
popularity,
argument.
yeah.
Or it would have been if, as Duffy said, he'd used it in that way. But I've always found that when I've ever mentioned that, and there have been times when I've had it as part of an argument, but not an ad populum argument. And
majority, authority, they sound about the same.
And, they always leap on it and say, ad populum. I haven't even said what I'm going to say yet.
Yeah.
And this is an example of the real reason, I think, that Duffy was bent on trying to rub Flat Earth's face in it, because the Flat Earthers keep bringing the Bible into it, and he wants to separate the Bible from our terrestrial reality.
Right, but I think it seems like he's made that situation worse, because we've heard multiple people this evening referring, not saying flat Earth, saying the biblical cosmology. Right?
Yeah, that's their new catchphrase.
Right.
Yeah.
He said it. Hanvey said it. Odell said it. I can't remember who else said it, but at least one other said it tonight. And on the last show, I had that clip of Dustin Nemos, suggesting that they stop saying flat Earth and call it the biblical cosmology because people won't want to challenge that. It's just so dishonest.
Yeah, they just want it to be true, and if they throw the Bible card, it's like hands off.
Yeah. He said that gives us a head start from the start because most people don't want to challenge it. So but it was good to see. Duffy holding him to account a bit there, because you could see he clearly wasn't telling the truth about all of these things, about the weed use and when he became a flat earther, all of this stuff. None of it adds up, and you could see he was getting more and more upset as he was more and more unable to answer the challenges, I thought.
Well, then he doesn't get his mom couldn't involved. even rage quit properly. He had trouble ending the call.
Right, yeah. That's why I left all that in, because it was good to see, wasn't it? Sorry, Scott, what did you say? Hang on, just let Scott get in.
And then you guys found it odd that he's getting his mommy involved?
I know.
Is that his mom involved?
Well, he mentioned her, didn't he? That he'd had an email from his mum, and
he said his mommy told him not to respond.
Yeah.
The funny thing about him going about, you mentioned the sky being brass here, is that's from Deuteronomy 20:23, yeah, and in the King James Bible it says, "And the heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thy feet shall be iron." And I've heard Christians who assert that that's the proof that God knows the true shape of the earth because there's an iron core. You got to make your fucking minds up.
Right. Yeah. I think also, was it the Greeks or the Romans that had no word for blue? And the word they had was bronze. They would describe the sky as being bronze coloured. So, I wonder how true to the real meaning any of these translations actually are, when you think about all of the ways that language is used and distorted slightly and contains slang and irony and colloquialisms and
I would question, Jim, whether any culture exists that doesn't have a word for blue.
Well, it was pointed out that, like in Homer, the Iliad, there was description of the sky and no use of the word blue for the ocean or the sky or anything. So linguists have brought up that the vocabulary did not include blue as we know it.
Seems
like
impossible.
Scott, it was on
Thanks, Ro.
QI, right? It was on QI, so it has to be true.
Thanks, Rome. He gave us irrigation in the yard, but you didn't fucking work out how to take blue properly. Thanks, Rome.
It does sound a bit like some wrong thing that your geography teacher told you when you were 12, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
So herein lies the issue for me. The vast majority of Christians don't go around saying the earth is flat. Right? It is a small group, this group, that claims this. And so for him to go and start attacking a pastor, saying, oh, you are a false prophet because you don't preach my particular species of whatever this is, because it's not Christian, but because you don't preach this my teachings, you are a false prophet and an evil liar. And yet most Christians, people who read their Bibles all the damn time, people who went to theology school, people who actually care about their faith a lot more and better than I do, they don't believe his stuff. And yet he's going to call. So basically by calling that pastor a false prophet and a false teacher and a false Christian, he's basically pointing to all Christians and saying that, in my opinion. That's what it looks like. Oh, you think we're all liars? That's what's going on with me.
I like the fact that the Vatican has astronomical telescopes. And the other thing is to contrast this interaction with Hanvey, and you look back 6, 8, 10 months when the first time Duffy encountered Hanvey, that was a very different interaction.
Right. And he did say in this interview that he'd shown that the 24-hour sun was possible. And he didn't. He tried 16 times and failed on every one. And he still isn't there now. So he hasn't shown it at all. And he's playing with this two-way mirror now to try and make it work. So,
and superfluid.
Right. He hasn't shown anything, Anyway, let's get on with it because it's getting late. Our final clip now, and it's an epic moment brought to us by our very own Brian Mabbott, who has had an idea and definitely is not a Poe.
Yeah, but I've just been on the side listening there and agree with just about everything you all say. The only thing I want to put into the mix, if it's possible, is that I think we can accept now that Whitser has been compromised.
Yeah.
Yeah, we agree.
Yeah. However, could we turn him into a double agent?
No.
Now he must. I would say he must.
No, you cannot. Do you want to know why?
Hear me out first.
Can you kill his
finish
family?
first, Ryan, and then pull it up.
Okay. Can you kill his family though? Okay, go ahead.
They won't kill anybody's family. Take no
What?
notice of that.
Okay.
Listen, he must have some evidence that this was rigged. He must have either emails or payment into his bank account or something that he could show us all and spill the beans. I will give him $100 if he does that, and I'm sure you would all give. It would be a world changer if we could get him to be a double agent.
Can I ask you this? If somebody could actually kill your family without even being in the area through directed energy weapons or, something of the like. I mean, even in the 60s, they had the heart attack gun, which they shot a bullet of ice that contained a neurotoxin that would cause you to have a heart attack. So if somebody could kill your family without even being in the area, right, would you put forth the truth for $100 a person or any price? I just have that question.
Yeah. You believe in nonsense again.
Oh, no, I don't. This is proven fact.
Hold on a minute. It's equally as nonsense to say that he's a double agent.
No, I never said he's a double agent. I said, can we turn him into a double agent?
How can we turn him into one? If
How did they?
An agent, then doesn't it?
Listen, he was already
how did they do it?
And you can't turn someone into a double agent if
declaring it live on stream.
Well,
it depends on the circumstances he's facing.
Actually, that is the most important point, Flats. Actually, yeah. So that's done.
We need to give him the opportunity to spill the beans and change history. If he spilled the beans, it is in the open. It would change history.
I don't think he's really going to care about money if his family's.
No. If it's out in the open, then it's not a double agent, then, is it? That's him just declaring.
No, obviously not. What I'm saying is,
no. So the very act of proposing this on a live stream on the internet that is filtered through artificial intelligence by Pegasus and Prism and placed on main core, every single one of us are on that list, right? Yeah. Like by even stating that, you have removed that from the possibility of what we could do, is what Flats was saying, actually. So
if it's a financial reward that they've offered him, which I would imagine it is, I can't see as they would threaten him with killing his family.
Yes, no, that is what it is, because he makes good money off his YouTube channel. I watched his streams. Like, there's no reason he would. It's threatening his family.
Yeah,
like he makes much more than anybody who works for an hourly wage.
Yeah, there's not just money that makes someone flip. Like, if you had a sister and that sister were threatened hostage, they threatened to kill her, then no amount of money is going to make you.
I don't. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for saying that, because I do not understand.
That's what I said earlier.
And why people do not understand this. They're saying, "Oh, well, I'd find a way."
Well, it was just a thought.
Just a thought. Can I just add that Brian has asked me to promote this idea of turning Witsit, and he's set up an email address for you to pledge your $100, and it is witsit100pledge@gmail.com. So, feel free to send that email address, your pledges. Witsit 100, as in 100, $pledge@gmail.com. This is true. I'm not making this up. He's actually DM'd me with this email address.
Okay, what else can we send to that email address?
There's only a certain amount of $100 pledges before you're prepared to let your family go.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Did he seriously say an ice bullet with neurotoxin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not realizing that there's not an ice bullet on the planet that you could fire out of a gun without it just immediately evaporating.
It's a heart attack gun. It's an energy directed wave. Right?
It's amazing, though, isn't it? I mean, what do you think? I mean, what's Brian doing there? Is he a Poe? He's got to be, hasn't he? He's got to be.
I'm also trying to figure out what. Go ahead. I'm just trying to figure out what sort of neurotoxin causes a heart attack. That one's still fucking throwing me off.
Right? I thought well, if it's attacking the nervous system, then maybe it stops the nerves from sending signals to the heart?
Or maybe it's just made of bullshit.
Yep.
Right?
It's amazing, though, what shit they can come out with when, he comes up with something completely outlandish and they just immediately top it. You know what I mean? It's amazing to see.
Yeah, I was just looking at that room of 8 sorry middle-aged individuals, and I was thinking, oh, poor Stu. Just look at him, and he's in there, and maybe there's a possibility that we're looking at 8 Sues there, around the world. I think we should all nod our heads and but in deference to those 8 Sues around the world.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gone into his little room again for 2 hours. At least I get a couple hours of fucking peace from the idiot.
I think we should all send him 100 Trinidad and Tobago dollars worth about 15 cents. Maybe this one is worth less.
Yeah.
I love the whole idea, though, of Witsit's lying to us. It's a shill. Witsit's all of this stuff, but you can't blame him because his family is being held hostage and is being threatened. That's what's really going on here. He wouldn't do this unless his family was being threatened. I wonder if Witsit's told them that or where they came up with that idea because they're speaking about it so definitively like it is true.
They came up with it from every other conspiracy theory. That's always a component for any of them, really.
Right.
Can we just stop for a second and admire the breathtaking idiocy of someone who thinks that the best way to get an organization to arrange a double agent is to fucking live stream it publicly?
Yeah.
I mean, this man really is unbelievable, isn't he? I mean,
But he didn't. If you watch his face, there's no point. There isn't even the hint of a smile there. There isn't the flicker of a cheeky eye there. There's just, he's just dead serious the whole time. Maybe he's just a brilliant actor. I don't know.
Maybe
he's a method actor. This is actually just some dude going through this to get experience for a new role that Disney's going to have for him, okay?
Maybe he's just an empty husk of a man living out the rest of his life in the Midlands.
No, that's not it. That's not it.
Well, why didn't he set up a GoFundMe or a Patreon?
Well, because I don't think he actually wants to.
Money.
He doesn't want to be ripping people off.
As opposed to
be accused of ripping people off.
Well, then what's going to happen to the money?
There isn't any money. You email him your pledge.
Oh, I was figuring
email addresses. That's all he wants.
Oh, we can't email it. We got to email it.
We ought to flood it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's what he's expecting, because he did tell me he wants me to promote it. What was it again? Can anyone remember? Hang on, it was
Witsit100pledge.com or something.
Yeah, Witsit $100 as in DOLLAR pledge@gmail.com.
100 new Taiwan dollars or $3.50 US.
So what you're saying is Brian has decided to crowdsource
New
signing
Taiwan
up for surprise porn.
You mean China? You mean the Chinese yuan?
No, new Taiwan dollars. Taiwan, the little island off of there. It's a separate country.
Yeah, China.
No, yeah, kind of Taiwan.
Right, let's not get bogged down in this. We don't need to have this argument now. Let's end the show, as usual, by saying thank you very much to everyone who's here on the panel. Thanks very much to everyone who turned up on YouTube. Over 100 again. And thank you very much to everyone who super chatted the show. Very, very much appreciated. If you enjoyed the show, you've still got time to hit my PayPal link and send me a few quid to say thanks. It makes it all seem worthwhile when you do. Thank you very much for that. And I'll see you again. I don't know, actually. I was going to say in 2 weeks' time. Not entirely sure because it's Super Bowl Sunday and we will clash with the Super Bowl. So maybe I'll do it earlier. Maybe I'll do it on Saturday. Maybe I'll do it on Monday. Maybe I won't do it at all. We'll see. But keep your eyes peeled for that anyway. So thank you very much and have a good evening.